If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. Max Chadwick going to join us from PFF on the college football side of things coming up at 9:45. Paul Finebaum at 10:33. We will beat the house at 11 o'clock. You have that to look forward to, which is very nice. Your emails, we'll hit that segment coming up at 10 o'clock. Absolutely loaded on that side of things. The line that my 12-year-old said to me on the way to school today, that we just had the I'm him thing in the open. His thing he's saying is, what the John?
What the John?
What the John? So you'll be like, I'll be like, wow, look at that. Look at the paint job on that car or something. What do you think of that color on that car? And you go, what the John?
Is that just like,
I don't know.
Is that just kids replacing a bad word, or does John did you ask him how John is spelled? Is it John? Is it French? Is it Jan? Is it Jean?
I'm very happy that it's not what the Sigma, because it was what the Sigma for a long time, and that's starting to trend out.
Okay.
So I got a what the John today. Speaking of a what the John, so I finished up the SMU season that I did on the NCAA. I actually lost in the quarterfinal to Oregon, 35-33. So Beamsy was sitting there with me, 10-year-old Beamsy, and he goes, hey, can I played and I lost, had the ball, threw a bomb, got tackled at like the 7-yard line, and that was it. Game over. They win. Ironically, it was Ohio State in a thrilling 38-35 win over Texas State in the other semifinal. So that was pretty,
because of course that's what everybody's
of course
predicting.
it would be that way. Yeah. So Texas State with the bye, which I thought was interesting. So it's over, and I'm like, okay, I had fun with that. I'm done. I'm probably not going to play this anymore. And Beamsy goes, well, can I take over? And I said, yeah, I guess. I mean, whatever you want to do. And so my SMU team was coached by Buddy Garrity, and they don't have somebody who looks like Buddy Garrity from Friday Night Lights. So the best I could do is a guy who basically looks like Rob Ryan, who has taken like a month of Awaken 180.
Okay.
So not quite full-fledged Rob Ryan, but certainly a month's worth of weight loss has done him well. So that's what my guy looks like. Look, long flowing gray hair, and so away we go.
Can you put sunglasses on?
I tried. They didn't have accessories for the coaches. They have all that stuff for the players, but for the coaches, you're either wearing like a kind of like a collarless quarter zip or a coach's polo. Those are the only choices. So Beamsy goes, well, Dad, you have options here. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, do you want to go coach somewhere else? I said, buddy, I'm done. Like, I don't want to play. I'm good. I don't want to do the recruiting. I don't want to do any of it. And he's like, well, Florida offered you the head coaching job. And I go, well, okay. Like, so what's the better job? Is SMU in the ACC with all their money, or is Florida in the SEC? And he goes, what do you think I should do? And I said, well, DJ Legway should be there. So he's a 5-star quarterback. I assume that he's there. I said, can you look at the roster? And he goes, no. And I said, look, it's a good job. Florida is an A job. It might not be an A++ job, but it's definitely an A job. Not Cadillac, but maybe Lincoln Continental job. It's a good one. You can win there. They've won national championships, several of them in my lifetime. You can absolutely win there. You can recruit there. And he's like, I think I want to take the Florida job. Wouldn't it be fun to play in the SEC? I said, yeah. All right, take it. Take the job. So he takes the Florida job, and then it gets into this crazy recruiting offseason stuff where your guys got to work out, and you have a February signing day, and you're recruiting that you have to create your targets for the next year. So fast forward to the next season, and he's going to start what would be the 2025 season. And I go, and he pulls up his depth chart, and sure enough, there's DJ Legway at quarterback. And I'm like, okay, well, you got a good quarterback. That's solid. So he clicks through. Running back was like an 84 overall, nothing special. He clicks over to wide receivers, and there was a name that you know and you're quite familiar with. Jeremiah Smith transferred to Florida. He hopped in the portal, and he transferred to Florida. So on the roster, I go, what is this? What happened to the Buckeyes? What happened here? Like, what the hell is going on in this game?
Because in your world, they won the quarterfinal.
They won the national title. They won the national title, and Jeremiah Smith was like, I'm good. I'm out. So he hopped in the portal, and he bolted. So all of a sudden, Beamsy's playing. He's going to start a season with Florida, and here's Jeremiah Smith starting at X for the Gators in 2025. And now he's asking a million questions. Is this even possible? Is Jeremiah Smith happy? Because in every season they've played with Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith is always a threat to transfer every time. And he doesn't like playing style is the problem. Like, he's not happy with playing style. Even the one I did like a month ago, he was upset with playing style. I'm thinking, gosh, this does not match reality in any way.
How do they come up with that decision tree? Yeah, like, I don't get that at all.
It's crazy. So then Beamsy goes, well, Dad, is that even possible? I guess, yeah, it is possible that type of thing could happen. And we haven't been there yet, right? Where we're in our early stages. And while that is all just a frivolous nonsense of a game and just kind of the funny thing that everything kind of crossed over and Jeremiah Smith was in the portal and went to the Gators, and Buddy Garrity, who was coaching SMU, is now coaching Florida.
I like the implication that Buddy Garrity had contacts with Jeremiah Smith. Yeah. So when he took the Florida job, he's like, why don't you come on down?
Oh, he's ready. He's ready to get him. And it's pretty fun to play with Florida with DJ Legway and Jeremiah Smith, as Beamsy found out, playing his first game of the year. But he was asking, like, is this real? And I said, yeah, it is. And it got me thinking about the fact that we are so new to all of this. We are so new to the NIL part of it. We are so new to the transfer portal parts of it. We're still trying to find our way. We have had various teams, and the team that we were playing with, SMU. There was that story in ESPN last week about here come the billionaires and OU just wait, and then they lost to BYU, made a quarterback change, and it's going to be looks like kind of a rocky season for them in their first year in the ACC. But there is the reality that is going to sit in that type of thing is going to happen. Remember. This almost happened a couple of years ago, not necessarily Jeremiah Smith, but what happened almost happened at Carolina with Drake May. Alabama came calling and said, what'll it take? And he stuck. Now, he had family lineage to Carolina, a relationship with Mac Brown. I'm sure Carolina made it right, or as right as they could make it. And there will come a time, though, soon, where someone who is a contributor on a great team enters free agency. It's the way the sport is. We haven't seen that quite yet. Most of the guys...
Jordan Addison would probably be the best example. On the Biletnikoff and then transferred to USC to go play with Caleb Williams.
He's probably the best. There wasn't a coaching change there. That happened in year one where he popped in. Most of the stuff that we've seen has been coaching change related. Guy gets a job, guy leaves, players exodus. Most players who are contributors on good teams have stuck around, except for the coaching change guys. But there's going to come a time in December of this year, it very likely will happen, where contributors on playoff teams hop in the portal and see what's out there for them. And if you are a program, and I don't want to put Buckeye fans in nightmare scenario here with Jeremiah Smith. This is just a nonsense video game. But you think about the Florida example or the University of Miami example. You think about desperate team. If this season goes really bad for UF, or if Miami falls off a cliff and they get organized with money, or God forbid Texas A&M, who's got unlimited funds, or Texas, if they have that type of thing and they want to throw money at it, they can throw money at it forever. And true free agency is coming. It's coming in December, because there's a lot of these teams that, even you mentioned Addison, we weren't as organized as we used to be, as we are now on NIL. And I'm not talking about we here locally. I'm saying in general. Mm-hmm. People are far more organized on NIL now than they were then, and there will be poaching that happens. Will it be at that level? I think it's in play, certainly, that it's in that level, that there is a freshman who shines bright and then pops in. That absolutely could happen, and it's something to watch for. It was nightmare fuel when I saw his name in the Florida roster, but at the same time, it was a reminder that, oh yeah, this could happen. These type of things could happen.
And depending on, what year it is, like you said, if a freshman pops off, well, that's 2 years. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to figure this out, because then his sophomore year and into his junior year, and you're going to want that. And most likely if somebody pops off as a freshman, they're probably done after that third year, but they could come back for their senior year. We saw a lot of talented guys come back for their senior year on the Buckeye team this year. But yeah, you're going to have to keep doing it every single season, because I think you brought up Drake May and Alabama going after him. Well, there was also the rumor that they were going after Tyler Van Dyke from Miami, but he didn't want to go. He ended up not having a great season, so it might have been a mutual parting of the ways. anyways. But then the next year he does transfer to Wisconsin. So if they did want to keep him, maybe he was done. And you don't know because you don't know these stories. And you talk about that the NIL collectives and the schools themselves are more organized now. And on the flip side, the agents and the players, they understand the landscape a lot more. There's a lot more experience on that side as well. So they know how to play the game, get the money up, and hey, who wants to be the highest bidder? And that's what it is at that point. It'll be interesting how many guys want to play that field, enter the portal. Are they going to play on their playoff team? Like, how is that going to work?
No one knows. No one knows. No one knows what that's going to look like until we get into it, Reese.
We know this. Your next DLC is going to include a Pac-12 with 6 schools.
Yeah, we'll get to that momentarily.
It is officially official.
It's officially official. Yeah, they said at 9 o'clock it was going to be. We'll get into the details of that momentarily, that's the way that the case would go, and that their early expansion, and there will be more because you can't have 6. So I think they'll get to 8 or perhaps 10, and they got a couple of years to be able to do it. I did get an update from a couple of people on social, Ian with this, and also John, Jon. He said his kid is a junior. He said we had a John phase a couple of years ago. Ian says, "Is it what the John? JAWN?" Apparently, it's and then it's John with the JON with the dialect on it. He says in some dictionary online, JAWN used to refer to a thing, place, or person or event that no one need not or cannot give a specific name to. These Johns are very inexpensive.
Hey, whatchamacallit.
Fantastic.
Whoosy-whatsy.
One of his good buddies, his parents are from Eastern PA, so that probably makes a little bit of sense that's maybe where he's getting the what the John from.
It's a Yinzer thing. There you go.
Could be that. Could very well. My man Tim Flaherty at Channel 10, he would know for sure about a what the John if that had been said before.
It does sound like when Charlie brings up jabroni and Sonny, and they're all like, that's a really cool word. We should use that.
2 words that they use in Sonny that I bring back anytime I think of them are jabroni and bozo. I think both of those.
That's a good one.
I love bozo. I think that's so great. I'll drop a bozo on the boys for sure. All right, coming up next, Reese mentioned it. The Pac-12 got a little bit bigger. Do they go to the Pac-6, Pac-8, Pac-10? God only knows. Will their former members come back? But Washington State and Oregon, they've added some partners, but will it stop there? We will get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Erectile dysfunction is a destroyer of your confidence, of your joy and intimacy, and often it can even harm your relationship. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, the leading men's sexual health practice in our area for treating erectile dysfunction. And I want you to know today that if you're like most men, you can be free of ED and all the impacts it has on your life. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're your local provider for dealing with men's sexual health issues. Our expert medical teams are focused on treating ED, and we have highly effective treatment plans with some protocols that work in well over 90% of cases. We can even combine treatments for greater efficacy, all of which means it's very likely you'll be having great sex again within just a day or 2 of your first appointment. You might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient locations, just off 270 in Hilliard and near the Medical Mile in Westerville.
Having health insurance is important. So, if you or anyone in your family has Medicaid or CHIP, listen up. Check your mail for a renewal form from your state. Complete the form and mail it back right away so you don't lose your coverage. If you do lose Medicaid or CHIP, visit healthcare.gov to see if you're eligible to enroll in a low-cost, quality health plan. Keep your family covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save $80 on select sets of Ford Nokian tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends September 14th. See store for details.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Meet me at the Ultimate Car Show this Friday at Valley Ford of Columbus. It's 4 GTs versus classic Ferraris, plus food trucks, live music, and tons of show cars. Everyone's invited. You can even drive your car in to show it off. I'll have my Mustang there. This Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. at Valley Ford of Columbus.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Sunshine out there today. Temperatures, though, feeling like summertime. We're going 87 for the high today. Tonight, clear, low around 60, and then sunny and hot tomorrow with highs in the middle and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are, of course, sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. The Fan is on YouTube. Watch us. Your favorite shows. Check out the videos. You can do this live, or later on. Check it out. Watch the whole show if you want. How do you find us? Head to YouTube, search 971 The Fan, and don't forget to subscribe to The Fan's new YouTube channel. You'll be a winner there. The Pac-12 was originally the Pac-8, then it was the Pac-10. It's been the Pac-12. They have 2 teams currently. They are set to have 6 by the 2026-27 academic year. The first thing I thought of this is, boy, that's a long way out. So much can change in a sport by the time you get to 26-27. The 4 schools have announced that they will depart the Mountain West and head to the Pac-12. Those schools are Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno State. They're going to have to pay an exit fee from the Mountain West. My guess is the Pac-12 will be able to help that because they're going to be able to poach some money over the next couple of years for those teams that left them. Of these, once the 4 teams are confirmed, which they would convert by the conference, they will need to add 2 more to reach the NCAA's minimum requirement for a conference to exist. They've got time to be able to do this. Again, this is 26-27. If I were the Pac-12, I would sit tight, or Pac-8, or whatever the hell they're going to be. I would sit tight with these 6 for a minute and just kind of see how this landscape plays out. So much can change between now and then. I would think that you could put together a decent little television package based on what you have already. Not one that's at the top of the sport, but they're not trying to do that. This is about survival. This isn't about an arms race with the Big Ten or in Oregon and Washington, the schools in their state that are their chief rivals. It's not about that. They've already lost that. There's no winning that back. But it's about survival, and there's a roadmap here for it. I saw Dan Wetzel with the kind of the idea of who the next teams to consider would be, and he mentioned ones that make sense. New Mexico, Wyoming, Utah State, San Jose State, UNLV, those type of teams would make sense as further additions to the Pac-12. If I were them, though, like I said, I'd sit tight. I'd see how this landscape changes in the next couple of years before I would start handing out invites. I think one thing retroactively that we will look back on is the Big 12 panic that they did a couple of times. They did it really twice. But as soon as Texas and Oklahoma left, they just started adding people to replace to try to stay above water. And I think in the interim, it's going to work. But long term, when you look at that conference, I don't even know what it is. I mean, you can talk a little bit about how the Big Ten, whatever sense it makes, or the ACC. Go pull up the Big 12 conference. It's a mess. It's a total mess. There's not a footprint. It's random. It's some state schools, some private. It's some in cities, some rural. They want to add UConn. I don't even know how many teams. They have 18 teams. Who knows? I mean, like Cincinnati, UCF, Houston are in the same conference as Kansas and Oklahoma State. Like it is just such a mishmash. So if I were the Pac-12, I'd hang tight with these 6. I'm a little surprised that they went. I'm a little surprised. I mean, 2026, 27, guys, is so far out.
It's a 2-year warning to the Mountain West. They have to.
They give them that? Yeah. I'm
that's
just trying
in the
to
contract.
think. I'm trying to think I wonder why just 4. And then I wonder, I guess let's start there. Why just 4? Why didn't you just get 6 of them that you want to get to 8?
I think it's because they see their position, like you were saying, as an advantage right now, that they got to sit back for a year and kind of see how the dust settled of these teams joining these conferences. And now, instead of they just merged with the Mountain West. That would just be like, okay, they're out there, Mountain West, and the Mountain West has 2 new teams. Well, by taking 4, that disrupts the Mountain West, what are they going to do? Do they want to fill up their conference? What's that going to do to other conferences? So I think there's going to be more, it's just going to have more ripple effects by the fact that they took 4. And my guess would be what they're going for is to say, hey, what does it cost for Cal and Stanford to get out of the ACC? You guys want to come back here, especially Cal, because those 2 teams, especially Cal, are probably sitting there like, we should have just waited. We should have just waited it out with these Pac-12, people without a home and figured it out for this year, because that is a much more successful route for a Cal athletic department that is hemorrhaging money than constantly traveling back to the East Coast.
Not that contracts can't be torn up at a moment's notice, but the Mountain West has that deal with Turner Sports, and that runs through 2026. So with $17 million from each school going to the Mountain West for the exit fee, I think the Pac-12 is paying the Mountain West. Amanda Kristovich had the figure at $43 million, maybe just mitigating the amount of money that's got to be owed to schools from a conference that's probably not liquid.
It's 2 things. Yeah, good update on that. 2 things I thought of. I'm with you. I thought of Stanford Cal immediately. Like, you sure? The other thing I thought of was, what is preventing the Pac-12 or the whatever it is and the Big 12 from merging and just having one giant poo-poo platter and then actually having kind of a conference that makes geographical sense east and west?
Hell of a basketball conference.
Yeah, it'd be a hell of a right. And so you take those 6, like if you could have dialogue between the Big 12 and the Pac-12. I mean, you look at the Big 12, you got they have 4 of them. They've got the 2 Arizonas, they got Utah and Colorado, and then they have BYU, that's 5. You add that to 6, and now you have 11. You just need one more team to play West, and then you have a Western division, and you could have that be Texas Tech. That's probably the most west of the Texas schools for sure. So maybe Texas Tech, and then all of a sudden you have 2 12-team divisions, East and West, and you kind of solve it, and you kind of can fill up all of this inventory. I think if I'm the Pac-12 right now, I'm open to everything. I'm open to all conversations. And one thing and that's the reason I thought of Stanford and Cal is the same reason you did, mostly Cal, Chopper, than certainly Stanford. But like, who's paying for all of this? I mean, who is going to pay? If you're in the Big 12, are you sure that like you can handle that financially in the non-revenue sports?
Getting to Cincinnati, West Virginia.
These are hard places to get to, dude. Morgantown, Lubbock, Lawrence, you'd be Kansas City. Some of them are relatively major, but some of them are outposts too.
Ames.
Like, these are These are tough. Actually, Iowa State would probably be the one that would go west.
Yeah, that would make sense.
They would probably go west, and they'd play Washington State and Oregon State and Colorado and Utah and Arizona's, and that would make sense for them.
Because they don't even have a geographic partner in the conference, especially with Nebraska gone. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for them. Because, like, Kansas State and Kansas are kind of in the same part as far as, like, going west, but they're together, so keep them together. But Iowa State, they don't have a partner. Their partner's in the Big Ten. I
just think unless you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, it's all got to be on the table. the ACC is clinging like grim death for that television package through 2036. So I don't know in terms of did Stanford and Cal sign into that, hey, we'll give you all of our media rights until 2036 as long as you continue to pay us. I have no clue about that side of it. But if I'm anybody else, if I'm the Pac-12 right now, I'm staying malleable. I'm open to anything about survival and getting bigger and getting as many quality teams as we can that make sense geographically. I do think there's going to be a pushback for those two West Coast schools going to those ACC places. You guys got to remember this about these ACC outposts. These are, with the exception of Boston College, Georgia Tech, Duke's, Raleigh, Durham, that's relatively easy. Miami's pretty easy. Pittsburgh's pretty easy. A lot of these places, though, are outposts. It is tough to get to Virginia Tech. It is tough to get to Wake Forest. It's tough to get to Tallahassee. It is tough to get to, certainly to, who am I missing? Oh, Virginia, Charlottesville, tough. Syracuse, tough. There's a lot of tough ones
Boston
to get
College,
to.
pretty easy. That one.
That's easy. Yeah, there's some that are big cities that are pretty easy, but this is something to watch for. So I think they're in a really good spot. I just kind of hang tight for a second and see how this all goes.
With your idea of like the merger of the big Pac-12, that's what I would say call it if you were going to do the merger. I like that idea. But if they come together, it will strengthen their claim to the most important thing that all of the ACC remaining Pac-12 teams, Big 12, should be worried about. You have to get third place and on top, well, I guess it goes this order. You have to remain a power conference in the eyes of like the playoff rules especially, and you have to what was I was just saying the second one.
Third place?
Yeah, you have to fight for third place because being third place to the Big Ten and the SEC is actually a really good spot. And if you combine the Pac-12 and the Big 12 of what's remaining with the Pac-12 and these new Mountain West ones, I think you have a much stronger claim than this Pac-12 is going to have, even depending on who the two are. But either way, I don't see a very clear one where it's like, oh, yeah, that's a power conference again.
Well, I think that merger would allow for it to be stronger than, at least have a conversation about being as strong as the ACC.
Because champions should be more battle tested, probably.
Sure. Yeah. So big developments on that side of things. Mountain West, does it disintegrate? Or does they try to add like those 1AA powers, whether it be Montana State, Montana, North Dakota State, South Dakota, that they try to bring them up? Those schools would be smart to stay where they are because you can fall off a cliff.
Yeah, would you want that?
No, I would not. No. I think everybody learned the lesson that Idaho learned, that Idaho 20 years ago decided to go Division I, and they basically have been drifting wayward for 2 decades. And they were a preeminent 1AA power in the early 90s and through the late 80s. And now it looks like they're headed back towards that, gave Oregon a rush. But you got to contend for something. We talk about that all the time with the MAC. It matters if you can contend for a championship at the highest level of your sports classification. And if you go to that Division I thing, you end up playing Arkansas State and random nonsense, and you're playing in a bowl game in Boise, Idaho in December. Like does not have the same juice as trying to win a championship. So no, I hope they stay far, far away from that, at least until the NCAA comes out with a subdivision for everybody who isn't in the Power Four. The Buckeyes are off this week, but still work to be done. You'll hear from Ryan Day on how big this week is to maintain and then build upon. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
Bobcat Enterprises is your family-owned partner for landscaping and construction projects. Bobcat Enterprises sells and services a full line of Bobcat equipment, including compact track loaders, excavators, tractors, and more. Plus, Bobcat rents compact equipment and attachments. With Bobcat, you can rent the machine and own the results. Keep your business local. Stop by Bobcat Enterprises in Hilliard, Reynoldsburg, or Zanesville, and find current specials and our full line of products by visiting bobcatent.com today.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
My name is Marsha Blanks, and I live here in Cleveland, Ohio. Like a lot of African Americans, diabetes runs in our family. I have diabetes, and my husband has diabetes. His was worse than mine, and we made the decision that he would go on the insulin and I would not. It was too expensive. The drug companies are making a fortune. Nothing changed with the formulas, so why was it becoming so expensive? When I heard that Sherrod Brown had capped insulin at $35, it meant that I could now take insulin and control my diabetes even better. It was a godsend. I'm feeling better. I'm losing weight. Sherrod, he stood up to the drug companies, and he actually won. And that showed me that he cared about us. I am 66 years old, and I do not plan on slowing down. And that's thanks to Sherrod, because I got the medicine I needed.
I'm Sherrod Brown running for Senate. I approve this message.
Paid for by friends of Sherrod Brown. It's Thursday Night Football on ESPN Columbus and the Fans HD2. Catch the Bills and Dolphins from Miami. Live coverage starts Thursday at 8.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home for the NFL, The Fan.
Life. It's full of strange twists and unexpected surprises. But at AAA, it's always been our policy to look on the plus side. And our AAA Plus members tend to take the same view. Take Martin, for example. Last Monday, his morning coffee surprised him with an extra 10 degrees of Fahrenheit. Ouch! It was just the jolt of energy he needed to start the day. Later, when his shirt was targeted by the mustard on his burger, he became a proud trendsetter.
Martin, looking good.
And when he walked face first into a sparkling glass door, he was happy to provide some much-needed entertainment for his coworkers.
I'm okay.
And of course, when his car battery took early retirement, Martin felt no resentment. He knew there was a plus side. AAA's expert roadside assistance was only a call away.
Hello, AAA. Are you in a safe location?
While we can't all be like Martin, we can become a AAA Plus member and experience the peace of mind that comes with living on the plus side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 roof.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Thursday. This awkward Buckeye bye week here early in the season. We've talked about it kind of all week long. I don't think anybody would want it at this time. Certainly Ryan Day wouldn't. You'd want to continue the momentum and continue to build in towards the season. I'll be very curious what they look like against Marshall early in the game next week. I think this is a real challenge to keep your team fired up after 6 weeks of hitting each other and then getting to beat up on a couple of lesser opponents and build momentum to it. Certainly better in week 2 than they were in week 1. And nevertheless, this is where you are and you got to deal with it. Nothing you can do about it now. So they've talked about this improvement week and making sure that they're all still rowing in the same direction and challenging each position coach and the individual players to be great and all of those things. One of the things that has been really critical, and off the top of the show, we talked a little bit about NIL and the challenges that could be coming with the sport on that side of things, especially this year with our first year in a college football 12-team playoff. One of the things Ohio State has been incredibly good at is when they get somebody in the portal, and this year they weren't incredibly active. It's just the guys they got were the best guys. They've been really quick to get them to buy into the tradition. I think that helps when you have guys like Hartline and Laurinaitis and guys like that who played here, who were dudes here, who can tell you what it means to be a Buckeye. And you walk by that place and you point to the NFL guys and you say, this is what this place is all about. And Ryan's made no bones of this, that one of the critical things that he does when he talks to recruits is make them understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And we can toss that around. And quite honestly, if you're not from here and you hear that, you go, oh, please save us. Come on. A lot of people have this type of stuff. Look, I get it. They do. But it's the combination of the tradition and then the fact that they've never fallen off. And so you have to teach kids who did not grow up in this state what it means to wear the scarlet and gray, to get Buckeye leaves, to represent the state the way that they do. Day addressed this Tuesday in his presser in terms of making sure that the new guys on the roster understand what it means when you put that uniform on.
During the recruiting process or even during the acquiring of the 7 transfers that we brought in, they have to understand what it means. You can't just bring in somebody to, be a quote unquote mercenary where they just come in and play and then leave. That's not what Ohio State is. So our focus is on recruiting great people, developing them, retaining them, which is what we did this year. There's been a lot of talk about numbers getting thrown out and everything. Well, the majority, if not, 90% of it was retaining our roster. And that's what it's all about. And that's important here at Ohio State, to make sure that the guys who decided to be Buckeyes in the recruiting process, the guys who stuck with us when they had an opportunity to go to the transfer portal, the guys who decided to come back, who had an opportunity to go to the NFL, we were able to retain them because there's a lot of talent in that locker room, but the majority of them were already on the team. That's the recipe.
He uses the word important in there,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of those things because you talked about how the Buckeyes hadn't, they haven't really fallen off in the last 60 years.
Yeah, really.
And it's because it's that important that brotherhood, that camaraderie, that what the scarlet and gray means, that transfers into the fan base, into the students, and into the state. And so there's that creates a lot of pressure on the Ohio State program and the job that Ryan Day is doing, all that kind of stuff. But it also means that there is always that strive to be at the top. There is no time frame where I think that the Ohio State fan base or the university is going to relegate to football can be on the back burner for now.
No. The thing that I find interesting, I can tell when you listen to Coach, you can tell that he's bothered by the number that gets thrown around nationally, right, on the broadcast. You can tell it bugs him. It bugged him in April. It bugged him this summer. It continues to bug him now. And my view of that, and I've shared this with them, is so what? Yeah, we have a lot of money to spend. We have a lot of resources. I do think that's an important distinction that he reiterates, that majority of it was to keep the roster that is here because that's the price of doing business. As he was talking, I was also just thinking how absurd his job is right now and how absurd all of these guys' jobs is right now. That it's not just, hey, how can we buttress this roster? It's we got little Timmy, we signed 2 years ago, who we really believe in, but he's being pursued by somewhere else, and he could come there and play right away, and they're going to offer him. We think about it at the highest end of the sport, right? Like the Caleb Downs and the Will Howards and those type of guys. But think about it even from the guys who are down the depth chart, who are maybe offered $100,000 to transfer and go somewhere else, and all of a sudden, if you're Ryan Day, you're like, I like him. I like the depth that he provides as a junior or senior. I think he can be. We recruited him. We believe in him. But in order to keep him, we're going to have to get close to that 100,000. All of a sudden, you're calling boosters and going, "Hey, man, can you get me 80,000 by the end of the week?" And you're going, "For what?" And you're going, "Well, I got to keep little Timmy happy because otherwise he's going to transfer somewhere else." Think about how absurd this job is right now. It's nuts what they're trying to navigate.
And it all flipped on Ryan Day, right when he took the job too. It was that year, 2019, when everything started to really change, and now we're here. It's at least settling down a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it's less work. They just understand the work now, I think, a little bit better.
I don't know if it's necessarily settling down a little bit, but I think everybody's starting to understand it a little better. We wonder, with 5 quarterbacks in this room, what happens in November? What happens in December once the portal window opens? This is a thing where you look at Tavian St. Clair, and they can say all the right things, but it would behoove everybody and their grandma to be like, yeah, number one quarterback in the class of 2026 or 2025, I should say. Like, yeah, how are you like every day making sure that he is committed? That's the ask.
It is. It is a nonsense video game, I acknowledge. But it's the only thing that I have to give me like what this could look like. So I told you off the top of the show, Jeremiah Smith and the thing had transferred to Florida, right, for the 2025 season. So I go to Beamsy. I go, do me a favor. Go to Ohio State. Let me pull up their roster for 2025. The quarterbacks remaining, you just brought up the quarterbacks, Reese, were Devin Brown, Lincoln Kienholz, and that's it. So in the game, saying bounced. He's gone.
Aaron Nolan bounced.
And so, like, this is a nonsense video game, but this is their realities. I asked the question earlier this week, like, how is Arch Manning still at Texas? And everybody says, oh, the obvious, right? It's, unique family. They have their own money. There's all of these things. Well, yeah, sure, I get that. But you have to incentivize him to stay, do you not? What does that look like at the University of Texas? Is that here's access to a private jet? Is it here's a couple $1 million to keep you happy to stay? And then when you do stay, you're going to step into a wonderful situation at the University of Texas. But I think that's one of the craziest stories ever, that this kid has sat for 2 years. By the way, Quinn's just a junior. He could return. Mm-hmm. He could. I mean, it's not like he's the consensus first pick in the draft. It's in play that he could return.
Yeah, and I mean, Quinn has 2 years of eligibility left, really, right? I think
he's just got the one.
Yeah, because this is his third year starting
at Texas.
Yeah, that's where we're at. But with Arch Manning, it's also because at the end of the day, all the players just want to play. So you can try, like how you're enticing them and saying, like, we can get your money up to this, we can get you a car, we can get you all this. But all of this, they do want to play too. They like that motivation as well, but they want to get on the field, and that's why they're transferring for the most part. But it is nice if you can have a bidding war too and get paid more. You're looking for both. Who wouldn't do that? Yeah,
you're looking for both. How can I get on the field, and then how can I be compensated more richly than I'm being compensated now? That's what's happening, and all of this is taking place while you're trying to win games, and in December it'll take place while you're trying to make a run through a playoff. So it's a wild, wild time. Max Chadwick, PFF college football analyst, joining us coming up next. I'll ask him what he thinks this Buckeye offense will look like when it's running at high gear. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
First down! Oh, what? Just cleared that drain last week.
Well, clearly that didn't work. Would you please just call the waterworks?
At the Waterworks, we mean clean. We'll get your drains good as new on the first down. And as for him, well, there's always the Buckeyes. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA. The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Don't miss the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale. Save up to 80% on truckloads of floors and more, including tiles starting at 19 cents a square foot. And a massive selection of laminate, luxury vinyl, and carpet, all drastically reduced. Cabinets and lighting fixtures, too. Save up to 80% during the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale on Poth Road in Whitehall. 24-month financing is available with approved credit. Hurry! The Outlet Super Sale ends September 29th. Dealers welcome.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
How do people feel about getting Big Fitness Energy at Planet Fitness for $15 a month? They feel as thrilled as a kid the first summer they're tall enough to ride the roller coaster. That's right. When you join Planet Fitness right now, you get access to tons of equipment and free fitness training in a clean and spacious club. Don't wait. Join the judgment-free zone today for that all-day energy. Download the free Planet Fitness app and join today for $15 a month.
Hurry. Deal ends September 12th. Join today for $15 a month.
See Home Club for details.
Your local Rite Aid might be closing, but don't worry. It's easy to transfer your prescriptions with GoodRx. First, check prices at GoodRx.com or on our app. Then show your coupon to the pharmacist. It's that simple. GoodRx can save you up to 80% on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, GoodRx is free, and it works whether you have insurance or not. Download the app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
When your job demands more than just hard work, trust Timberland Pro, the brand that defines superior comfort, performance, and durability. Built on a legacy of craftsmanship, Timberland Pro provides boots and apparel that stand up to the toughest challenges. Our products are as resilient as the skilled men and women who wear them. From the workshop to the job site, Timberland Pro is there with you every step of the way, blending innovation with time-tested quality. Discover why professionals choose Timberland Pro. Always do, never done. Visit timberlandpro.com or your local Timberland Pro dealer.
With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you can watch the most live NFL games all in one place, which means you can watch the Rams and the Colts and the Vikings and the Bengals and the Buccaneers and the Chargers, or whoever you're rooting for, all in your living room. But not literally, of course. That would be dangerous. Watch every game every Sunday with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up at youtube.com/NFLST. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's get smarter, kids. Max Chadwick, PFF college football analyst, co-host of the PFF college football show, joining us on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Max, thank you so much for taking the time. 2 weeks in, and certainly acknowledge that the opposition has not been much for the Buckeyes. But as you've observed them through 2 weeks, what do you notice different from last year with Chip and with Will, and what do you think this offense will be by the time season is done?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I think they just took care of business in these first 2 weeks, which is all you can really ask for Ohio State, not really playing a tough opponent, right? So I think what I've noticed with this offense is that Will Howard has looked good when throwing the ball deep. I think right now I saw a stat when we were diving through the database that he's 4 for 4 on deep throws this year. And I don't know if he completed one last year. I have to look it up last year. But he's doing really well in throwing deep this year. So that's something that we didn't really see too much of at Kansas State, and he's doing well so far, throwing to guys like Jeremiah Smith and Cornell Tate and stuff like that. So I think Will Howard's looking good throwing the ball deep, and I think it's still an offense that relies most on the run game with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. Even Will Howard can run it a little bit, but it's good to see that Will Howard can win deep when they want to throw the ball.
It's early, right? 2 weeks in. The most impressive team, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks in terms of the way they go about their business offensively, to me, is Texas. It feels like they make you defend every blade of grass on the field. Impressive win last weekend in Ann Arbor. Felt to me, Max, like they could have named the score. What have you made so far of Sark's team and juxtaposed to what you saw from Michigan last week?
Yeah, I think Texas has also been one of the most impressive teams in college football, and they really deserve that number 2 ranking next to their name right now. I think I actually was in attendance for that Ann Arbor game, for that Michigan game, and I think it was really impressive how Sark was able to just break down that Michigan defense that, by all accounts, is one of the best in the country. So he is a brilliant play caller, and he has a great quarterback in Quinn Ewers who played really well. The Texas offensive line played really well as well. Yeah, I think the all-around Texas obviously dominated Michigan in that game, and yeah, Michigan's got serious offensive problems. I think that's something that another thing that you noticed in that game as well, and that's going to hold them back, I think, from making the college football playoff this year. So Texas dominated that game, and we saw why they're a national title contender, and Michigan showed why they're not a national title contender like they were last year.
Max, who is a team or a couple of teams that have maybe impressed you more than what you perceive them to be? And then conversely, who are some teams that have been a little disappointing out of the gate?
Yeah, I think one of the most impressive teams so far has been Tennessee. I think, that game against NC State was very eye-opening. They beat them by 41 points, even though NC State's a top 25 team. And really the most impressive part of that 41-point victory is that you think of Tennessee's two best players, it's quarterback Nico Iamaleava and the edge defender James Pierce Jr. Neither of them were really that great in that game, and yet Tennessee still dominated them by 41 points. So I really thought this is a Tennessee team that was going to rely on those two a lot, and it was good to see that they didn't really have to rely on them a lot, and they still were able to dominate a pretty decent team. So that's one team that really impressed me. Obviously, Notre Dame has been a really disappointing team so far. Great win against Texas A&M in week one, but then kind of a theme of Marcus Freeman's time there is that they always have this massive upset that happens to them. You got to remember the Marshall game, the Stanford game, and now this Northern Illinois game. Now Notre Dame, with that easy schedule and the fact that they don't play in a conference title game, Notre Dame basically has to win 10 straight games in order to make the college football playoff, in my opinion. So I don't know if they will do that, and if this offense continues to look like this, they probably won't do that. I think Notre Dame has also been one of the most disappointing teams I've seen so far.
Max, what do you make of Riley Leonard? What did you make of him coming out of Duke last year? And because Ohio State wanted him too. They were in on him. Other school, Oregon was in on him too, and perhaps he was the first choice at both. He's been wildly disappointing. Is it scheme or is it him? What do you make of that?
He's always been a really good runner, and he's always been a really tough kid. He's never been a good passer, and that's something that really I think people just need to understand is that even at Duke, he had really awful accuracy, at least last year, and you've seen it come up in times this year as well. Yeah. So I think that's just something that people need to understand is that, I personally, I've never understood the serious NFL hype with him. I never thought he was a first or second round pick or anything like that. Like I said, he's got a decent arm, and he can really run, but the accuracy is just all over the place right now. And I think he's kind of like a toned-down Will Levis in a lot of ways. And, Will Levis, without the freaky athletic tools, probably isn't an NFL quarterback right now. So I think Riley Leonard, I think people just recalibrate their expectations of him. I never was this high on him entering the year. I thought he was a solid quarterback, don't get me wrong, but yeah, this accuracy stuff, it's not like something new. It's a big issue last year too, and now it's, again, rearing its ugly head this year.
Talking to Max Chadwick, PFF College Football lead analyst, co-host of the PFF College Football Show. Max, a guy that I know you were a big fan of in the offseason. We're 2 games in with Drew Aller, new offensive coordinator at Penn State. I watched the West Virginia game. I thought he was great in that game in the second half especially. Did not see the Bowling Green game. I know Bowling Green gave him all that they could handle. But this will really be about Drew. It'll be about that offense. What have you seen early from Penn State to lead you to believe, are they potentially a contender in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think they're probably definitely a contender in the Big Ten now. Oregon has looked pretty rough through 2 weeks as well. So now I think Penn State, after Ohio State, I think Penn State and Oregon are in that group now, the next best teams in the Big Ten. And yeah, I think Drew has impressed me just, in that new offense, just really looking more comfortable and looking more confident. I think there's a lot of times last year that he didn't look that confident, right? And that Ohio State game really comes to mind when you talk about that because the offense, I just don't really think really fit him last year. This year he looks a lot more confident in it, and I think he's starting to make some throws that show why I was very high on him, entering the year, and why I think he could end up being a potential NFL quarterback down the line as well. So, yeah, I've been really encouraged by his performance as well through 2 weeks, and we'll see what he can do the rest of the season as he gets to Big Ten play. But yeah, I think Drew has been a guy that I'm happy has finally looked a lot more confident in this system than he did last year.
Max, you mentioned Oregon. We've always circled that game as kind of like, okay, you go to Eugene. That's maybe the most talented team that you play until you get to the playoff from the Ohio State perspective. I watched all their game against Idaho, saw some of their game against Boise State. What do you make of why it's not clicking at Oregon early?
I think it's a little weird. I think one of the biggest issues they have right now is that the offensive line is just not protecting the way we thought it would entering the year. And hand up, I thought Oregon had a top 5 offensive line in the country entering the year. And put it simply, it's not performed like that at all through 2 weeks against inferior opponents. And listen, Boise State's a really good Group of 5 team. They'll probably be one of the top Group of 5 contenders to make the college football playoff. But this is still not a team that Oregon should have too much difficulty with blocking, at least. And then Idaho, obviously, is an FCS school, not even a great FCS school at that either. So, the offensive line has really struggled to protect so far, and I think that's a big issue. And why Oregon hasn't really been able to take too many shots downfield or anything like that. And the offense has been kind of vanilla through 2 weeks. I really don't think, offensively at least, I don't think Oregon's had too many issues with Dylan Gabriel. I don't think they have too many issues with the receiving core or the run game. I think the offensive line is what's stalling this offense right now, and why they're not able to take shots downfield. And until that offensive line, gets better, this is what the Oregon offense is going to look like. And if they keep playing like this against better opponents, they're probably not going to be able to escape with victories like they did against Boise State or against Idaho. So, I've been really shocked by that offensive line, and I've been really shocked by Oregon, honestly. I thought Oregon was a pretty clearly top 3 team in the country entering the year, and they've just not looked like that through 2 weeks so far against inferior opponents. So, it's really concerning, I would say, if I'm an Oregon fan, that this offensive line that we thought was going to be so good entering the year has just not played like it so far.
Great stuff, Max. Always appreciate your insight and everything you do for the game. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time today.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Max Chadwick, PFF college football analyst, co-host of the PFF College Football Show on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Your emails coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
You know that thing you've always been too scared to go for? It seems like you'll never have the guts. Then a cancer diagnosis. And doing that thing becomes way less scary. I would know. I've always wanted a black belt. And today, the only thing standing in my way is a few wooden boards. It's been a lot of hard work and 5 years since I beat cancer at Ohio Health. Bring it on. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
At Baths R Us, we're terrible roofers. We stink at installing siding. And don't ever call us for your kitchen remodel. But if you want a stunning, beautiful bathroom makeover in just 2 or 3 days, now that's when you want to call us. See, unlike most contractors these days, we offer only one service, bathroom remodeling. We don't spread ourselves thin by doing roofing or siding and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. At Baths R Us, we dedicate every company resource into mastering the craft of bath transformations. It's why we're the Midwest's biggest 5-star family-owned bathroom company. And it's why we have the happiest customers. Just check out our Google reviews. Baths R Us. We're terrible roofers, but we're awesome bathroom remodelers. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate, or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Pop quiz. What's the best way to go back to school? With Giant Eagle and Market District, of course. From lunchbox favorites to fun after-school snacks, they make it easy to care for growing minds and stomachs. And with their Deals for School Days program, you'll enjoy savings on thousands of items throughout the store. But don't wait. Featured items are only available at these low prices for a limited time. So stop in and stock up for the ultimate back-to-school pantry. Visit your local Giant Eagle or Market District today.
Watch the PGA Tour's Next Generation at the Nationwide Children's Hospital Championship at the Ohio State University Golf Club, September 19th through 22nd. Pub 13 drink specials, food trucks, and more. Get your free tickets at ncc-golf.com.
Hey, it's Anthony. Do more with your money at Tel-Ohio Credit Union. If you know Tel-Ohio Choice Checking, you know all the perks that come with your account. Cash in your benefits by setting up an account today. Find out more at tellohio.org.
Certain restrictions apply. Tel-Ohio is open to all in Central and Southwestern Ohio. Federally insured by NCUA.
All right, sports fans, let's talk stats. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. And of those men, many will experience bladder leaks. That's why Depend is partnering with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage getting screened. Because if caught early, prostate cancer is up to 99% treatable. I like those odds. Depend is also donating to prostate cancer research for select purchases now through November. Learn more at Depend.com. From September through November, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation. For Depend Shields, guards, real fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000. Void in Mississippi.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through September 15th, purchase high-quality GAF with Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. Earlier today, the Pac-12 was 2. Now it's 6. Oregon State and Washington State successfully poached Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, and San Diego State from the Mountain West. Starting in the 26-27 academic year, the 4 departing schools have approved the move and reportedly pay the Mountain West $17 million each on the way out. As for number 3, Ohio State, Buckeyes are on a bye this week. They'll host Marshall next Saturday at noon. Hear from Ohio State's head coach today at noon on the Ryan Day Show. In the NFL, Week 2 begins tonight in Miami. The Dolphins host the Bills at 8:15. You can hear that one on the Fan following the Buckeye Show. In baseball Wednesday, the Reds are at the Cardinals at 1:15 today, while the Guardians host the Rays tonight at 7:15. This update is sponsored by Dormar Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an emergency repair? Dormar can be there today, guaranteed. Visit them at dormarheating.com. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour of the program. Paul Finebaum coming up in 30 minutes at 10:33 as we get you set for Week 3 around the sport. Take a look back at an eventful Week 2 as well. Between now and then, we hit your emails. Hit it, fellas.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
Once again, actual emails from our listeners. This one from Jonah titled, "Hey guys. Recently, I've been struggling with the Buckeyes' conundrum regarding maintaining a healthy roster, ensuring all mouths are fed on offense and defense, and upholding the statistical prerequisites required by the NFL for draft-eligible athletes. In recent years, it seems as though the NFL is equally valuing both wear and tear of potential draftees and individual player statistics, which seems like a contradiction. Here's what I mean. Usually an increase in workload correlates to improved production, although the increase in workload is often held against the player due to body attrition. More carries equals more injury risk. For example, Quinshawn and Travion have both expressed their desire to split carries due to workload management while in college, but they also understand their overall production is what improves draft stock. This has also been shown in recent hesitancy by NFL teams to pay running backs. So is it possible for college football coaches to find the happy medium between maintaining healthy rosters, ensuring players are okay with their playing time, individual stats, and catering to the NFL regarding potential draftee health, especially when college teams are potentially paying 16 to 17 games a season?" I'll shut up now, Jonah. You don't have to shut up. It's a good question. I don't think the NFL, Jonah, I don't think they pay much attention to, how should I phrase this? Production is not the number one thing, and I don't think it's the first or second thing that NFL teams are looking for in regard to draftable players. Jamar Chase didn't play his final year at LSU, and he went in the top 5. So if you have elite traits, that's what they're looking for first, is elite traits, and then they marry the elite traits with the production, and that's when it really starts to pop. Yes, you have to produce at some point. It can't be a situation where you've never produced at the college level. That's very rare. But if you have the elite traits and you've produced some, that's really the sweet spot. Now, what you're talking about with the running back position is unique to that. And I think that's what they sold Quinshawn Judkins on here, is one of the knocks on his time at Ole Miss is that essentially he was the entire offense, and that Lane Kiffin, especially as a freshman, kind of rode him into the ground. And one of the things that they sold him on here was, hey, we're not going to do that to you. So what did he have? 13 carries in week 1. He had 9, I think.
Yeah, it was something
8 or
like
9 last week. There will be a share between really the 3 of them. So all of the, I think that Ohio State, Jonah, is doing everything that you're talking about. I think this is the exact example of balancing, and it's really that position where it's most the one you have to pay attention to. The rest of them, I think you're fine on wear and tear. Balancing production and playing time and maintaining health. And I think that's what Ryan Day has been talking about really all offseason is we're going to play 16 or 17 games. We need a lot of depth. And so over the course of that time, a lot of mouths can be fed.
Yeah, I think I think you're right. The way that Ryan Day has spoken, that he wants to build a much more sustainable program in that sense of keeping guys healthy. And then because getting guys healthy and then they can get production and they still have, tread left on the tires once they get to the NFL, they know the tremendous recruiting tool that can be. So I see that for Ohio State. But I know that there's going to be coaches out there who could hear that point and just not care and just, churn and burn the guys and wear them all the way down. And okay, you can go off to the NFL once you're done, but they don't care if you're really that successful or where you're drafted. There are coaches like that, and that stinks, but it does seem like Ohio State has now approached it in this new world, and that's a big reason. There is a competitive advantage to increasing the roster sizes for these elite schools, but it will also help with this issue, which is something that I think they are also concerned about. But there's football coaches never make anything with just one motivation.
No.
And I think one of the most important things that and even Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, they've talked about it since January, is to always be communicating with everybody on your roster, with every coach, to make sure that everybody's nobody's surprised by any move that you make, anything that you do. So you're always talking to guys about their production. You're always talking about guys about their work. Because in the event, and this is more likely than not, with a quarterback, with maybe a running back, Dallin Hayden entered the portal. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. They're going to talk to other people. And so I think the biggest thing you can do is be honest and open at every stage of this, whether it's preseason, offseason, when you're going back into the portal as coaches, so that you can build the reputation as we move forward with this, and especially as NIL starts getting more and more tied into athletic departments, that you guys are a transparent program, that you haven't burned anybody because it won't come back to bite you.
Do you think Colorado knows that Dallin Hayden entered the portal and signed with them?
No.
It doesn't look like it by the way they use it. He's nothing.
And now he's banged up, but he is their leading rusher. Well, they only have 70
They don't run it.
Well, Shador.
He's their leading rusher at 54 yards. They have 70 yards rushing through 2 games.
Yeah,
they are the worst rushing team in
They don't even try.
college football. Yeah.
They don't even try. It's crazy.
But they rebuilt the offensive line. It's so much better. And he got
What a
sacked
mess.
5 times against Nebraska.
This is our good buddy Greg. He writes, it's a great day to be a Buckeye, but what the hell with the targeting calls? Gentlemen, Saturday's targeting call had me absolutely distraught. Can someone please fix these stupid targeting calls? My solution is making the targeting calls like soccer, yellow cards, red cards. What do you fellas think of the solution? Go Buckeyes. P.S. Nothing in life is more glorious than a Buckeye victory along with losses by the Irish and Wolverines. Hopefully both teams can play in the Betty Crocker Bowl in January. I would like that. I think targeting is a really tough. I think the way the college football does targeting is borderline insane. That you're suspended for a half, and then the half of the next game. It's just way too punitive on a bang call. And I don't think Denzel's was at all. And it sucks that now it's Marshall, so it's not that big of a deal. But we've seen this where guys miss the first half of the SEC title game, the Big Ten title game, like that type of stuff. It's just way too punitive to do that, especially. Most of these targeting calls, most of these guys have been coached the right way. Most of them are bang. It's quick, and your head's in the wrong spot. There aren't many that are true blue targeting. I'm here to hurt you with the crown of my helmet. You don't see many of those anymore. I actually like his solution of yellow cards and red cards, where you get an accumulation of yellow cards, and then you got to finally sit a game or be suspended. But that to me would make a lot more sense than this notion of in the moment on a bang play, you're down now and you're down for the first half of the next game. I think it's way too punitive.
It's like that old adage of I can't define it, but I know it when I see it with targeting. Yeah. When you see the egregious ones. And I think I had this point on one of our Saturday shows, I believe after the first game, but just it was the one because they picked up a targeting in that one. But I think targeting has gone to a point where it's been around long enough that it looks like the behavior has changed some. The desired, and that was the point of the rule, to change the way guys are hitting each other and tackling, and that has started to happen. So now most of the targeting calls we see, especially the ones that make us go, why are they calling that, are the incidental contacts that are just going to happen because the guys continue to have heads and helmets. They're going to touch each other sometimes. The helmet is going to touch things. It can't not be touched for an entire football game. And so that's why it's ridiculous. And then you don't even really know always what's going on with targeting. When I first saw the replay, I thought they were looking at downs. Not number 10. I thought they were looking at number 2.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden they're like, Denzel Burke's out of the game. And I was like, I wasn't even looking at that one.
No, it's a tricky one. Reese, you're going to like this one. This one is from Ben, Browns mascot. He writes, the Browns mascot is a brownie, not an elf, not a gnome, not any mythical being. It is a brownie. It is its own category of being a member of the Fey folk like all others. Google it to learn more. Pass this information on to Beamer, please. P.S. The original flavor of Sun Chips are the best. Oh, go to hell, Ben. You don't even believe that.
That's a horrible email.
You're not going to believe
He had so much goodwill going, and then he just flopped.
When was the first time you saw the elf?
Way to unland the dismount.
When's the first time you saw the brownie?
Might have been 10 years ago. I don't remember. I don't.
So he hasn't been around forever? He just has an old school look to him?
He's been around since the 40s.
Okay.
But it's been in and out of Browns fans' consciousness. Like there hasn't been,
So here's how it...
So is Brownie like Hoosier from Indiana?
Here's how it
from
happened.
Cleveland?
This is how it happened. Way back, 40s or 50s, they were looking for a mascot. They came up with Brownie the Elf, and that's what he was. And then it was largely shelved because guess what? It got made fun of a lot, right? So it was largely shelved. Then in the 80s, Hanford Dixon and those guys came up with Dog Pound. And it's a section of the stadium, right? So then it was like, okay, we're going to bark like dogs, right? So then there's that. So over the last 20 years,
they brought an official logo too. You're
right. So in the last 20 years, they've had 3 different dogs, 3 different dog logos that they've used. And then when a guy named Dave Freeman got there, he's now with the Cavs, really good dude. One of the things he did is like, what do we have in our history that we can pull forward? So one of the things that he liked was the elf, but he was like, we got to be very cautious with the elf. We don't need the elf everywhere, right? Like, let's just little bits and pieces of the elf. And be like, oh, the elf's kind of cool. There's a nostalgia with it, right?
It's the homage model, yes.
Yeah, right. So here's something old that used to be, let's try it. So that led to where you are now, where it's at the center of the field and all of those things, which also led to this question from Beamsy the other day. Dad, I don't understand the Browns. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, we're named after a guy. Our colors are brown and orange. We have an elf, we have a dog, and we're named after a coach. I don't get it. I said, yes.
Yeah, he does get it, actually.
Actually, you haven't. But like, he's really specific about branding, and he doesn't understand it. And he bugs him like their colors are like all of it. It all bugs him, and I'm like, well, dude, that's just who they are. It's just all of that.
You've let him know that it's okay to not be a Browns fan, right?
Well, no.
Oh,
not yet.
You got to let him go on that NFL Rumspringer that I was talking about. Let him root for a different team for a year.
It bugs me though. Like when I see. I don't know. Is there a responsibility as a parent to get for kids to like teams? Like you'll see this, Chops, when you have yours. Like there's a, like Reese, you're a Browns, you're a Cleveland sports guy, and that's because family, and you had ties to Northeast Ohio, and that certainly makes sense. But if you're a kid and you're 2 years old, born here, is the world your oyster as far as professional sports are concerned? You root for anybody?
I'd say so.
Quite honestly, can you root for any college team? This was blasphemous in the old days, but like, what's stopping a kid here from being like, well, I want to like Texas?
Well, you might get stuffed in a locker in Columbus if you're rooting against the Scarlet and Gray. Yeah.
Sure, but then how's that different than a kid in Cincinnati or Cleveland liking the Steelers?
I mean, I did it. I was an Iowa fan in high school in Centerville.
You had ties there, though.
Oh, you're saying just picking. I'm
saying just randomly picking.
Like nobody shoved me in lockers for
I'm saying just randomly picking a team. Like I don't know, from a parenting standpoint, like where that is. Like, what is the parent responsibility?
We should ask Bodie because I don't know all of his connections, but he has Boston, Dallas, and Notre Dame.
Sounds just like LeBron James to me.
And he kind of just picked all of them, yeah.
Just picked front runner stuff when you were little. That's what you do in Montana because there's nothing close, so you just picked all the teams that were good. Real quick, this one from Brendan. I've heard you mention the last couple of shows and today in The Real Truth talk about how the Bengals are a team that would benefit from the influx of private equity. Lots of thoughts here on how Mike Brown cuts the pie, but it's more important to note Mike Brown was the only vote against the move to private equity. You're right. Need a couple $1 million to solve their problems. As long as he's running the team, it ain't happening. I don't know how many people are aware of that. I was aware of that he was the one to vote no. Of course he would. Of course he would vote no.
So they could use it the most. That is still the real truth.
Yes.
But it doesn't sound like they will pursue it.
No, not. Got one from David as well on the great late Neil Laron of the Dispatch, who was a great sports photographer there, and appreciate you reaching out on that, David, as well. All right, coming up next, football is absolutely king across the board, and it's just the beginning. We get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Excuse me, waiter. There's a hair in my soup. A long purple hair.
I'm so sorry. I'll get the manager.
I'm the manager. How can I help?
Wait, weren't you the Plum Insurance mascot?
What gave it away? My long purple fur?
Something like that.
What if all insurance companies were like NJM and were known for putting their policyholders first, not gimmicks? Then all those insurance mascots would have to get real jobs.
I'll pass on dessert.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
It's Jeep Adventure Days at Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, where you'll save up to $16,000 off MSRP on new 24 Jeep Wranglers and Grand Cherokees. One Performance, 2 locations, Georgesville and Delaware.
Cannot combine offers, not valid on previous sales. Offer expires 9/30/24.
What's better than cheering the Buckeyes on to victory? Wearing our exclusive collection of OSU jewelry as you watch. Hi, this is Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. We're an officially licensed jeweler of The Ohio State University, and we've created beautiful Buckeye jewelry that will last a lifetime. From Blocko earrings to Diamond Script Ohio necklaces, we've got luxury Buckeye gifts starting at $99. No matter where you're watching, show your Buckeye love at the Diamond Cellar, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
More and more people are falling into problem gambling. Mary Haven's experts offer comprehensive care. You and your loved ones can count on mental, emotional, and financial guidance.
Confidential and judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today.
Dick from Dayton says, listen to the Ryan Day Show. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey join Coach every Thursday from noon to 1.
Presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472-2000, 614-472-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472-2000, 614-472-2000.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Sunshine out there today, high 88. Sunny again tomorrow morning, but increasing clouds throughout the day with a high of 86. And then 86 on Saturday, 88 for the high on Sunday. We are dry every day. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
And do yourself a personal favor. Just keep it locked here at the Fan all day long. Ryan Day coming up at noon. Rothman and Ice to follow. Then, of course, Man and Bone. Timmy in for Brother Bone. And they'll have Adam Rittenberg as they go inside the Big Ten. That is coming up at 3:34. It is a full throttle Thursday on the Buckeye Show. That will be a lot of fun. Austin and Mike in the second hour. DeVere and Nicole in the first hour of that. And Thursday Night Football, Bills and Dolphins. We'll pick them coming up in about 40 minutes. From now, I did get this on social. All right, here's the question. He says, this is from our good buddy Ryan, loyal listener. I'm a Buckeye and Reds fans because they're local, and I went to Ohio State. I grew up the school up north fan, but I hated my father. Same. That's why I like the Lakers over the Celtics, and that pissed him off. Bulls because they were good when I started liking hoops. 49ers because my uncle from the Bay took me to Candlestick as a kid. It's so interesting how your personal experiences lead you to it. I do think there was a time where if you grew up, if you're a man in your 40 or a woman in your 40, it was like, well, I'm growing up in Central Ohio. I'm going to like the Reds or the Indians. I'm going to like the Bengals or the Browns. There's a decent Steelers contingent here too of people who are expats from Western PA, and so. There's that type of thing, but you're going to be a Buckeye fan. Like that's the way it's going to go. I have noticed it being more transient. I think part of that is all of this stuff is so much more accessible, right? You can watch any game you want. You're not stuck and relegated to just watching the games of your favorite team in your local area. You can watch any game you want. There's so much access to all of it. One thing that I did with the boys was I didn't make them like anything. It just kind of came naturally. Like, I took them to Buckeye games when they were little, so they liked the Buckeyes. Guess what? The Buckeyes win. Pretty easy. That's an easy one to like. Colors are cool. Stadiums are cool. Players are cool. That's an easy. Check off all the boxes. On the NFL side of it, I didn't push them in any direction. We were doing the two-a-days. I mean, they got jerseys of half the NFL teams up there. They navigated towards or maybe pulled towards the Browns in recent years just because of the stuff that I do for the organization and the fact that we've been to games, haven't been down to a Bengals game, but we've been to Browns games through the last few years. And so that is something that they have kind of have started to be pulled to, but I think also because the Browns have been good and they've had cool players. Like if I were doing stuff for the Browns in 2012, I don't know that it would have made a damn bit of difference if I took them to games or not. Like they weren't going to have any part of it, but the Browns have been a decent team. They've got cool players. Nick Chubb's easy to root for. Myles Garrett's cool. All of that stuff. But in the rest of the sports, they're wildly transient. They don't really watch baseball at all. Basketball, they could give or take the Cavs. There's no sort of affiliation there. Same thing with hockey. When they watch hockey, they certainly pull for the Blue Jackets, but there's not a huge thing like we got to be Blue Jacket fans. And same thing with probably the one that's national, or I'm sorry, here locally that they most root for is the Crew. But that might also be the fact that that's the only soccer outside of like the big European stuff that they see.
And they're good. That helps.
Good's key. Good's key.
Well, Bo, in your line of work, and you've lived in various different places around the country, do you outwardly have any NFL college teams that you really push? I mean, I bet you have a lot of Buckeye gear and you have other things, but like you're not sitting there, like you've got that background with you with some of those Ohio State pictures, and those are really cool. But like, do you have a Browns wall in the basement? I don't see you as that guy. I don't think so.
No, I don't. I got a Joe Thomas, something that he gave me when he went into the Hall of Fame, and that's kind of the extent of it. One thing that one of the negatives about doing this job, and it's gotten better in radio, but when I was in television for so long, and certainly when I got into television, it was absolutely accurate. We were really hammered to be unbiased. Mm-hmm. So especially in my first two television jobs. So when I moved to Columbus in 2007 and I did like my first sportscast on Channel 10, and it was Jerry Revish and Andrea Camburn on a Football Friday, and they were wearing buck nuts around their necks. And I went, what in the hell is going on? I mean, everyone's been scarlet and gray. Like, I was told vehemently at my previous stop, like, even though it was located in Tallahassee, we do not root for Florida State. Like, you don't say us, you don't do we, you don't do any of that. And I'm like, well, gosh, Bowden's a nice guy. I like him a lot. And no, none of it. They're like, look, we got a lot of Georgia fans in the viewing audience. We got a lot of Florida fans in the viewing audience. You don't do that. So when I came here and it was like, wow, this is like a company town. This is the firm, right? Don't ever go against the firm, Mitch. Like, everyone rows in the same direction. It was eye-opening for me. Rothman and I have talked about that too. Like, it was a new experience for him.
Yeah, I mean, that is completely different. And so, yeah, growing up, you're talking, yeah, so like it's the environment around you, not even just your parents' environment. Because, like, obviously that's why I became an Iowa fan. It's just if you go to my parents' house, you can't miss it. There's plenty of Iowa stuff. We all have a Kirk Ferentz signed picture from various times in our life. Mine says, "Follow your dreams." Thanks, Kirk. But it's right there in your face. And so in Columbus, even if you don't live in a household with it, it is going to be right there in your face because it is like a full part of the community too. And it's like the only show in town in that sense.
And there were those growing up in elementary school, middle school, for me, that they wanted to go against the grain, so they became Michigan fans.
Yeah.
So that's how you had a lot of that, but it was just so Fridays, Mondays were just so dominated by Scarlet and Gray at school. Like, to see that on the news was never anything weird because everybody did it, and then it was only like when living and kind of working in other markets, you're like, oh, that's not the norm.
I think it's an Ohio thing because the news people in Cleveland, they're all Browns people. Like, here we go, Brownies. They wear dog stuff around their necks on
Barking
Fridays.
during the weather forecast.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I'd never seen it in the other places I'd been. That I guess homerism. Now, I think in this business, it's different in terms of who I root. I mean, it's obviously plainly clear who I root for now in terms of wanting to see those teams have success. But for example, I don't root against Cincinnati. Like, I like Burrow having success.
Yeah.
Even though I have an affiliation with the Browns, like, I like Burrow. I like that team. I hope they have success. The one thing that I think did happen, I did a story with, I was interviewed for a story Tom Reed did years ago he was either at, I think he was at Cleveland.com at the time. Tom's a great writer. And he was at The Athletic. He was at The Dispatch. I think he was at Cleveland.com at the time. And I did this when I was still on air at Channel 10. And he said, kind of the breakdown of how do the NFL break down to Columbus? And one thing that happened was I always kind of viewed Columbus as a free agent for an NFL town. If you have a kid, right? Like, you can kind of pick one of three, and three, one of them Pittsburgh. But the Steeler thing that happened here over the last 20 years, the Browns going away in the late 90s, the Bengals and Browns being kind of bad through the 90s or not existent, and then in the early 2000s being bad, and then Pittsburgh was great. It's an easy route. And it doesn't matter if you drive into Pittsburgh or it's a little further, but Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh doesn't really matter. Like, if you're a little kid, they're black and gold. They win a lot. Yeah. They got cool players.
They won 2 Super Bowls when I was in my formative years. I knew tons of Steelers fans growing up.
There's tons of them. So that's one thing that happened that probably, if you grew up here in the 80s, did not exist in that way at all. Real quickly, I got to pay off on the tees. Football just dominant this weekend. I want to talk a little bit more about the Manning cast a little bit later, but the NFL wrapped up week 1, an average of 21 million viewers, up 12% from last year. That figure excludes the 14 million on Peacock. It also does not take into account the fact that DirecTV viewers missed all of the stuff on ESPN. So those numbers would be potentially even bigger. So just... football's king. It's not close. College football's second, and everything else is a distant eighth. Paul Finebaum up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof.
This week at Meijer, get more for your money in just one stop. Find fresh California green seedless grapes for $1.49 per pound. Delicious whole pork shoulder butt for $1.99 per pound. And select General Mills cereal for $1.99 per box. Plus, flu and COVID vaccines are available now. And you can earn M-Perks points at the Meijer Pharmacy. So schedule your appointment today. Get the same low Meijer price no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Did you and your family lose Ohio Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
For 32 years, Newman Roofing has been your local family-owned roofing expert, delivering a white glove customer experience on every project. Our commitment to quality means every little detail matters. If you need a repair or replacement, call Newman Roofing at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com.
Rothman and Ice.
Calvin Ridley is going to be put in a position based off of the money that I'm following to be a guy in a new place that really reminds some folks of how good he can be.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it. But there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Welcome to the Plus Side, where a AAA Plus membership means that an empty gas tank won't keep you from a full day, and where a dead battery can't stop you from being the life of the party. Because on the Plus Side, roadside mishaps don't have to ruin your day. With AAA Plus, tire changes, battery swaps, and emergency fuel are just a tap away. AAA gets to you faster, and if you need a tow, we'll take you further. Become a member today and experience peace of mind on the Plus Side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Join me at the Ford vs. Ferrari Ultimate Car Show at Valley Ford of Columbus. Everyone's invited to see Ford GTs and Ferraris, plus tons of other local show cars up close this Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. Driving car registration is open to all at Valley Ford of Columbus.
In his ads, Sherrod Brown talks about common sense.
It's just common sense.
But Brown's record shows a complete lack of common sense. Sherrod Brown voted multiple times to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports.
Common sense.
And Brown introduced a bill to allow transgender biological men in girls' locker rooms.
Common sense.
Brown supported allowing minor children to receive sex change surgeries. And Brown backed Bidenomics, reckless Washington spending and inflation causing prices to soar on gas, groceries, electricity, and housing, making life harder for Ohio families and seniors.
It's just common sense.
Actually, it's nonsense. Brown's extreme liberal policies make absolutely no sense outside of Washington, D.C. But that's the real Sherrod Brown. He's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum, sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
And as always, the beloved Paul Finebaum joins us on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's go back to Ann Arbor last weekend. I thought after week one, Texas it's Colorado State, but they made you defend every blade of grass. Sark could have picked his score, is what it seemed like to me. What did you make of the dominance in Ann Arbor for Texas?
Yeah, I was surprised how dominant it was. To me, I thought Michigan would be competitive. I was wrong. That game was over so quickly. I talked to one of the Texas players this week, and he tried to act like it was a 4-quarter game, and he had to fight back a laugh when he said it. Anyone concerned that Michigan was going to extend the streak over Ohio State to 4 games need not be concerned. I mean, this program will be lucky to be anywhere near the playoff conversation in November and December.
It's the damnedest thing, Paul, that they basically punted. It feels to me, we're 3 hours south, but it seems to me like they kind of punted on this season. I mean, to not try to get better at the quarterback position in the portal, it just seems like, hey, we had our cake and we're good. And what they put out there Saturday was, I thought Texas would cover. I did. I picked them to, but at the same time, I thought Michigan would have a little more resistance than they did.
Yeah, I mean, let's stop the hate on Michigan for just a second to say that Texas is better than maybe even we thought they would be, and they were a top three team coming in. But it was just the dominant, the physicality. I mean, you've seen more Michigan play than I have, but I don't remember a time when Michigan looked like Purdue.
Yeah, they were bullied. You mentioned Texas. When Sark took that job, based on what your familiarity with him was as the coordinator, certainly at Alabama, and he's been all over the star-crossed at USC and all those things. Did you think that they had finally landed their guy the way that it appears that they have with Sark?
No, I mean I knew he was a good coordinator. I knew his past, but I just had not seen enough. His head coaching career had been so checkered. It was hard to believe that even with all the things that Texas has, because we've seen so many failures at Texas, whether it's Charlie Strong or Tom Herman or the last 5 years of Mack Brown. It was hard to believe that he could dial it up that quickly. But the quarterback position is so significant, as we all know, and he got the right one, and then he got the backup being the right one, and he put all the compliments around it.
Yeah, he really did, and they are humming and certainly belong in that Georgia-Ohio State category at the very top of the sport. Tennessee, 51-10, Paul. I didn't see that one coming over Dave Doran's group of Wolfpack on Saturday, and really it wasn't like Amalieva was lighting the world on fire through a couple of picks. What did you make of the dominance from the Vols?
I think that's the significant part of this game. I had a lot of friends who were at that game, and they said, Tennessee really isn't that good. I said, well, okay, that's fair. But they're the fastest team in the country, which most people know. And when they get on a roll, they're hard to contain. And NC State had just nothing to answer. And really, Tennessee is about to enter the playoff picture in a serious way. They have Oklahoma next week in Norman. And I'm assuming they're going to get out of that based on the play of the Sooners. And suddenly we're talking about a real contender here. And I say that basing it on a couple of weeks ago, they looked like a fringe team. They didn't look like they were inside the bubble.
No, they didn't. And now I look at this AP college football poll, and it's every Big Ten fan's worst nightmare. 6 of the top 7 are SEC teams. Some of that is the way that some of the Big Ten teams have looked. Oregon has dropped all the way to 9, and I think probably deservedly so. Of those 6, obviously we know Georgia and Texas are very real, but Bama, Ole Miss, Missouri, we just talked about Tennessee. Where are those teams? Are they appropriately where you think they are nationally, the way that they are ranked?
Yeah, and let me warn the audience, don't pay too much attention. I know down in my headquarters, that's on the wall when you walk in the building. But it doesn't mean anything because there's a lot of cannibalization in the SEC. To me, Ole Miss is the team not getting any conversation. They haven't played anybody. They'll play Wake Forest this week on the road, which doesn't mean a whole lot. But they look complete. So I think they're the other one to watch. I'm a little shaky on Alabama. I don't know. I think they'll get out of Madison. They should get out of Madison without a scratch. But they have Georgia in 2 weeks, so things will start breaking out.
The thing that'll be the reason I think it's interesting is that I've always been pretty certain that what Greg Sankey will do as this thing goes along, because they had a very different scheduling philosophy than the Big Ten did. I mean, Ohio State's not playing USC. They're not playing Washington. They're not playing UCLA. They're not playing the hits in the Big Ten, but the SEC did. Georgia plays Texas in a couple of weeks, and then they play Alabama, so forth and so on. And I'm really convinced, Paul, that what will happen is there will be our 9-3 is better than your 11-1. It won't impact Ohio State, but it's going to impact the ACC, the Big 12, and it's going to impact some of the maybe second-tier teams in the Big 10. The stage is set pretty nicely for that, is it not, based on the way that these teams are ranked early?
Yeah, some of that scheduling was done to cover the fact the SEC did not go to 9 games, which to me was a financial network decision that will be rectified. What is interesting, I happened to run into Greg Sankey yesterday. They had a meeting in our building, and you may have seen this, but I wasn't aware of it because I was traveling a little bit. But he was in Ann Arbor. which I thought was very interesting. I think it just the reason I bring that up, he then went to Charlotte for the Tennessee game, but the fact that he would go up there, the commissioner he won't normally go to a road game with all the SEC teams. But I think it's just to reaffirm the connection between him and Tony Petitti.
Yeah, they're going to walk hand in hand on all of this going forward. It's nice to see those two conferences kind of walking in the same direction. What did you make of Nebraska and just you want to talk about dominance? I mean, they could have named their score too. They really took the gas off in the second half. What did you make of Nebraska? The Big Ten folks been begging for Nebraska to be good and relevant for a long time. It's really early. It's one game. I don't make much out of dominating Colorado because they got their own set of problems, but it did look pretty good for the Huskers on Saturday.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that because at some point they are important to college football and most important to the Big Ten. But what I gained from that is that I don't know how many more weeks we're all going to be subjected to questions about Deion Sanders, but it looks like there is a due date on that. It's coming off the shelf here probably in a few weeks, hopefully sooner.
Paul, was there anybody because I always thought when he went out there, like such an awkward fit at Colorado. That's the part of the country I'm from, and the NIL wise, they weren't going to have money. Like it was going to be a tough recruit. All of the things that our problems were going to be. Were any of the SEC teams seriously considering him at all? Is that how he ended up there?
Yeah, forget Florida State. I mean, they made a good decision in Norvell, no matter how they're playing this year. The job openings were A&M. I think actually that's not true because A&M. A&M could have looked at him earlier. The one that his name popped up briefly for was Auburn when they hired Hugh Freeze. There was a lot of people pushing that. But if you know the South, and I know you do, that's not the right place. It's just too weird down there for somebody like Deion Sanders. So he really didn't have an option. It was a bad decision, and all the magic that he brings, and he brings a lot. You can't wave a magic wand in college football and replace 50 players. No. You can't, and it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Without an offensive line, he is going to get killed.
The honeymoon over for Hugh. Speaking of Auburn, you lose to Cal at home. That's not good.
No, it's terrible. I mean, that to me was under the radar last week, but there's no excuse for that. And Hugh Freeze is, he blew the end of last season. He lost to New Mexico State. Remember he blew the Alabama game on the 4th and 31 play. He didn't show up for the bowl game. Auburn fans are starting to wonder if they got damaged goods with Hugh Freeze.
Crazy stuff. Good stuff as always. We'll be taking a look back at week 3 next week. Thanks for your time, buddy.
My pleasure. Thanks, Bill.
All right, that's a great Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show, ESPN, and the SEC Network, SiriusXM on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, boneless beef chuck roast or chuck steak in the value pack is $4.99 a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get Eco.
It's hot everywhere.
I was thinking about that, Jerry. Remember when you invented the bagel button for toasters?
Sure. Toasty where you want it toasty, cool where you want it cool. The perfect bagel.
I think air conditioning should be like that. Keep the toasty heat outside and keep your family cool inside. If your house is toasty, we can make it cool the same day you call.
Get Eco.
I like it, Aaron. But if only you had a button.
A button?
See, the genius of the bagel button experience is the button. Push the button, and everything is taken care of.
Get Eco.
GetEco.com has 2 buttons. One button to book online, and another button to talk to a real-life person. Either way, your cool house is happening today.
2 buttons. Genius.
I thought you'd like that.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus.
Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy.
Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush.
Plus top-of-the-line grills still in stock.
Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
At Sunny Street Cafe, we scoff at the notion that restaurants should only have one tagline.
Because we
have 7.
Like our number 4.
Sunny Street Cafe. Breakfast and lunch classics you would expect. And some tasty concoctions you wouldn't.
Now with 8 locations.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Common Man here for sex change. Are you looking to get it smooth down there? Use promo code Common Man and get half off your eunuch transformation.
Smooth down there.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
This out in San Francisco 2 days after he was a surprise inactive in Monday night's season opener. San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey explained how the decision to sit him out was made and why he was adamant Friday he would be available to play. Speaking to Bay Area reporters before Wednesday afternoon's practice, McCaffrey attributed his confidence he'd be able to play last week to the mentality he believes is necessary in such situations.
Monday morning, just moving around a little bit. I prepare every week to play. My mindset every week is I'm going to play. There's been weeks where I'll go the full week, not even feeling good enough to do the walkthrough. And then I wake up and the body's capable of a lot of cool things. And, mentally I'm always prepared to play. And then woke up and it was a group decision, a very tough one. I hate not playing, but look at it as a chess move and, something that hopefully we can benefit from the rest of the season.
Also Wednesday, head coach Kyle Shanahan was asked whether there was any thought to shutting down McCaffrey and putting him on IR. Shanahan quickly shot down that notion, quote, "No, I've never considered that. We considered that he would play last week, so definitely not thinking about 4 weeks off," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
I heard Shefty on Rothman and Ice, and he's exactly right, and I'm sure that's exactly how it played out. You go to Mason, you say, hey, all right, Friday practice. Remember they play on Monday night. Friday practice, McCaffrey, I don't feel all the way right? So now it becomes an injury designation. You go to Mason, prepare that you're the starter. right? That's the dialogue. Prepare that you're the starter. McCaffrey goes, let me see how the next couple of days go. They get to Monday, and he's like, yeah, I can't go. And then they sit him down, and then Mason's the guy. You go fast forward to the end of the game. Mason's asked, when did you find out you'd be the starter? He's in the post game. He ran for 140 yards. Found out Friday. It's semantics is all that it is. The thing that this got so much attention for is because of fantasy football. That's why. It's not even the betting line. It was fantasy football because McCaffrey was the number one pick, including by yours truly, and most people had him in their roster on Monday night, and then all of a sudden at 7:25, you get a notification, McCaffrey's out, and you go, wait a second, I don't have any other options. So I had a running back slot that was empty last weekend. That sucks. And that's why I think it got so much attention. It's because of what Mason said. But I think it's much ado about not much, and I think it's just a scenario where a young player, emotional, I'm sure he was told, prepare as if you're the starter on Friday. I'm sure that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, and he probably thought nothing of it until after he spoke, till after the game. So he says it on the broadcast, because then he goes up to the podium and then kind of backtracks. I think that's a good lesson for everybody on how to properly media train your rookies. Like, hey, you've got to be careful. Every single word gets just diced, sliced, and magnified 10 times. Yeah, not really a thing with McCaffrey, because he was dealing with an injury in the preseason, didn't play, and this leaks into the first parts of the regular season. They don't really need him. Not for right now. I mean, this is the same conversation we've had about the Buckeyes. Guys deal with an injury like a Donovan Jackson. Well, you're going to need him later. You don't need him now.
I also like Christian McCaffrey and Shanahan going along the route of, like, this is like what we like, how it happened and why it went that way, and not throwing Mason under the bus either. About like none of their explanations were about like he misunderstood this stuff. It was just the idea that like we thought Christian could play, and then he couldn't on Monday.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, John Orand of Puck had this. A DirecTV Disney stat that fascinated me. Monday Night Football viewing on ABC was actually up in DirecTV homes this week, per a source. That's because outside the markets, DirecTV subs still watch the game on ABC. The full effect of the blackout won't be felt until next week when the game is only on ESPN. End quote. Thing or not a thing?
So John Orand used to be Sports Business Journal, Reese, and now he's Puck. Why did they name it Puck? Do you have the answer to that?
No Puck an idea.
Strange, right? Because when you see Puck, you just think, well, is this a hockey podcast? But it's not. Is
it an acronym?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But it's a tough. I think it's a bad job in naming, because he's like one of the authorities on sports business. And when he's at SBJ, it was like, okay, that makes sense. I don't know what Puck is.
It's also a dicey word to say.
It's very difficult. Yeah, be very careful with that. In terms, it's not a thing because they still did $21 million, and I still think that they'll get this thing solved eventually. It sucks for all of you on the DirecTV side of things, but like the numbers are going to be huge regardless. And I think the NFL is just they're so cat ate the canary right now. They can do almost anything they want and they win. And then this thing will get sorted out with DirecTV and Disney soon enough.
Yeah, the NFL is probably the only product left that like barrier to access doesn't really deter people. People will find a way to get it. So maybe we won't even get. That's the other thing. How many people don't have any cable or anything that we don't get the ratings from the NFL? The likelihood that the NFL ratings are dropping is actually probably way wrong. The likelihood is that it's going up, and we don't even know how big it is because it's probably the most counterfeited programming there is.
Yes, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Up next, this one was a marketing tweet, and Sportico shared it, or a contributor for Sportico, Jacob Feldman. The Connecticut Sun are selling playoff tickets, and they'd really like you to know that there's a 56.8% chance they're facing the Indiana Fever in the first round. So playoff tickets go on sale, a graphic of the team, and blah, 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 whatever their mantra is. And then in big, bold letters, Indiana 56.8, smaller letters, Phoenix 36.7, smaller letters, Seattle 4.7, and then anyone else, 1.8%. Thing or not a thing?
So I can't see on the image that you put on the thing. Is one of the participants Caitlin Clark photographed? Is she in the photo?
Let me check.
Like on any team, it looks like she's center.
Right.
She's center in the one of the pictures.
And so is
so Diana Taurasi looks like.
And
is that Diana?
Her teammate is on there, too. Is it Aaliyah Boston?
Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah, she's in front of her. So the Fever people are centered in the Connecticut Sun pre-sale ticket.
Yeah. And isn't Connecticut, like, they've been one of the teams that's been the most brutal towards her in terms of trying to rough her up.
Yeah, wasn't that the first game, too?
Yeah. Here's the deal. I said this summer, and I was not comparing athletic accomplishment. I was just simply comparing the ability to move the needle. Caitlin Clark is Tiger Woods. That's what she is for that sport. They had 1 million on Sunday up against the NFL. She did. She has an audience that will find her. They will seek her out, and they will watch her. They will watch in droves, no matter where they are. They will find her. And Tiger did that for golf. Like, if Tiger was in an event or if he wasn't, there's a dramatic difference. And the same is true of her. She is an absolute... What's the line that Daenerys Targaryen says in Game of Thrones?
I don't want to be a spoke on the wheel.
Yeah. I'm going to break the wheel. She broke the wheel. Caitlin Clark broke the wheel. And so these guys are being smart by saying, hey, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get to see her. Now, the thing that would suck if you're Connecticut is, my guess is majority of the fans are probably Caitlin Clark fans at the game, right?
Yeah, this is probably an attempt to sell out and say, hey, buy it. You might get a chance to see Caitlin Clark in her first playoff series.
By the way, this still works because she's great.
Yep. Butts and
That's
seats.
That's why it still works.
Butts and seats, like the ticket.
If she didn't deliver and she wasn't good, it wouldn't be like this.
It's a thing. It's a good job out of the Connecticut Sun, because you're telling people, hey, there's a really good chance you're going to see this. There's a really good chance you're going to get an opportunity to watch this live and in living color. So I think it's smart and savvy out of them, despite being something that you go, just real quick. Chargers are at the Panthers Sunday at 1. They'll play at the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. The plan is for L.A. to stay east between Monday and next Sunday, and then they'll go back to Los Angeles for their Week 4 matchup against the Chiefs. On Wednesday, Justin Herbert told reporters that he's really looking forward to staying out east for their games.
I think it'll be awesome. I think it's a great opportunity. It's just like training camp. It's going out there and focusing on just football. And it helps us, obviously. Coach Harbaugh was telling us, his mindset behind staying over there for back-to-back East Coast games. And he said, we're going to bring some board games, bring some football, watch your laptops, and keep moving it. So it'll be fun.
What board game are you bringing?
If I had to bring a board game, I would bring Settlers of Catan. Thank you.
It's like thing or not a thing?
It's not like training camp. It's like summer camp for him.
Yeah, it's Camp Winnipesaukee. Where's he staying? Do we know? Because when he's with the Niners, they'd stay in Youngstown with the DeBartolos. They'd set up there.
Okay.
There's been teams who have stayed at the Greenbrier who have done that, where you go to the Greenbrier for a week. Certainly Pittsburgh, you could do Nemacolin. You could stay at Nemacolin.
I'd stay in North Carolina and go up to Pittsburgh later in the week.
Sounds like it's just Charlotte.
Yeah.
You're just going to stay in Charlotte? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
NASCAR Hall of Fame.
There you go. All you need.
He is a lifelong Eugene, Oregon guy, Justin Herbert. So, yeah, that is like, I don't know if he's ever spent any time on the East Coast.
A little bit of explore his horizons a little bit. We'll attempt to beat the house. It went very well for Reese. We'll see if he can stay hot. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
There's a place where mishaps don't mean missing out. Welcome to AAA's The Plus Side, where a AAA Plus membership means that an empty gas tank won't keep you from a full day. Where a flat tire doesn't have to deflate your mood. Where being locked out doesn't mean you'll be out of luck for long. And where a dead battery can't stop you from being the life of the party.
Looks like you're all set here. Have a good rest of the day.
Because on the plus side, roadside mishaps don't have to ruin your day. With AAA Plus, you're covered with the gold standard in roadside assistance, whenever and wherever you need it. Tire changes, battery swaps, and emergency fuel are just a tap, click, or call away. AAA gets to you faster, and if you need a tow, we'll take you further, anywhere within 100 miles. Become a AAA Plus member today and experience the peace of mind that comes when you live on the plus side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply. Service is only available from AAA and CAA in North America.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof.
My name is Marsha Blanks, and I live here in Cleveland, Ohio. Like a lot of African Americans, diabetes runs in our family. I have diabetes, and my husband has diabetes. His was worse than mine, and we made the decision that he would go on the insulin and I would not. It was too expensive. The drug companies are making a fortune. Nothing changed with the formulas, so why was it becoming so expensive? When I heard that Sherrod Brown had capped insulin at $35, it meant that I could now take insulin and control my diabetes even better. It was a godsend. I'm feeling better. I'm losing weight. Sherrod, he stood up to the drug companies, and he actually won. And that showed me that he cared about us. I am 66 years old, and I do not plan on slowing down. And that's thanks to Sherrod, because I got the medicine I needed.
I'm Sherrod Brown running for Senate. I approve this message.
Paid for by friends of Sherrod Brown.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Whenever someone works on my home, I want it to be a company I can trust, that has a long-standing reputation, that you can stand behind their work, that you can build a relationship with. Well, that company for my roof, well, it was Newman Roofing. They have created a culture centered around creating an excellent customer experience for each project they are trusted with. They are committed to delivering a quality product every time, as they view each customer as a Central Ohio neighbor. At Newman Roofing, their commitment to you doesn't just end when the job is done. They're there to support you for the life of your roof, and you know you can trust them because of the longevity of their company and their family-owned. With their lifetime workmanship warranty, you feel confident that the decision to invest in your roof with Newman is going to be protected by a company that's been in business since 1992, and they're going to be around for generations more to come. So when you're looking for a repair or a full roof replacement, call the family company you can trust. Don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. 614-NEW-ROOF at newmanroofing.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Week 2 of the NFL kicks off tonight in Miami. The 1-0 Dolphins host the 1-0 Bills at 8:15. We'll have Thursday Night Football on the Fan following the Buckeye Show. Miami running back Devin Achane is questionable as he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Week 2 continues Sunday in Jacksonville. The Jaguars host the Browns at 1 p.m. Deshaun Watson will start at quarterback there. Sunday at 4:25, the Chiefs will host the Bengals. In college football, number 3 Ohio State's off this week. Buckeyes host Marshall next Saturday at noon. Hear from Ohio State's head coach at noon today on the Ryan Day Show. In other news, the PAC-12 will have 6 teams starting in 2026. Boise State and 3 others will leave the Mountain West and join the remaining 2 teams in Washington State and Oregon State starting in 2026. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa credit card from BMI FCU. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, coming up at 11:20, the Browns are headed to Jacksonville. Deshaun Watson with a lengthy podium session on the off-field, on-field, and all of it. We'll have that for you coming up in about 17 minutes from now at 11:33. The Bengals and Joe Burrow. What's with all the flex of the hand, man? We'll ask him. That's coming up at 11:33. Between now and then, we attempt to beat the house. Hit it, fellas.
Beat the house.
All right, week 1. Kind to Reeser, not so kind to Bo, but didn't dig yourself that big of a hole. Reeser, 11-5, Bo 7-9, both missing that Monday night pick. You both with the Jets, right? Yeah.
No, I had Niners.
Yeah, no,
you had
Niners.
I had Niners covering. That got me to 7.
Well, there you go. At least you got that one.
Yep.
And we'll start back again on Thursday night. First, Amazon Prime game. So we'll check in with Al and Kirk tonight in Miami as they host the Bills. Dolphins -2.5.
Buffalo needed a Herculean effort at home to beat Arizona. Miami got rolling late. I know Miami could be no Mostert. Sounds like potentially no Achane as well for Miami tonight. I'm not sure it matters. I don't even have to give up 3 on this. Give me Miami to cover the 2.5.
I'll go Buffalo plus the 2.5.
Moving on to Sunday, Cowboys fresh off their win up in Cleveland. They're at home. 6.5-point favorites hosting the Saints.
Picked the Saints last week, and that did me pretty well. I like Dallas to win here, but the 6.5 feels too big there. I don't know if I don't know how much the $60 million helped with Dak Prescott. He was good. I think there's a little return to earth for the Cowboys this week. So give me New Orleans plus the 6.5, but Dallas wins.
I think the number is just the thing there. It just seems like it's a little bit too much. See the Cowboys winning by, Vegas zone 4 or 5, something like that. I like Dallas winning as well, but I think New Orleans, and I'll take the points.
Do we like Tampa Baker Buccaneers or Tampa Bay Bakerneers better?
Don't like any of it. Stop it. Just call them Tampa Bay.
Tampa Baker Buccaneers at Detroit Lions -7.5.
All right, so this is one of those ones where you look at it and you say, Tampa Bay hammered Washington. Detroit was sluggish against the Rams. 7.5? Who would ever take the Lions given 7.5? And that's why I'm taking the Lions and I'm throwing the 7.5. Somebody knows something. Lions, huge.
Yeah, I'm taking the Buccaneers plus the 7.5. That's too big.
Road favorite, first one of this weekend. Colts -3 at the Packers. Who's playing quarterback?
You could give me Indianapolis or you can give me Indianapolis -3, -4, -6, -10. I think I'd still pick the Colts in this one. If it's Malik Willis at quarterback for Green Bay, woof.
Yeah, he's not great. It's one of the worst backup situations. I would stay away from this in the real world. But I do think that Green Bay is expertly coached. I think their defense travels. I think they'll be able to run the ball. And I think that LaFleur will put together a game plan that's doable. This is a home team that I had on the verge of being a Super Bowl team. Yes, they're without their quarterback, but everything else is in place. I like Green Bay winning this one outright. Give me the Packers.
Another road favorite from the team, quarterbacked by the man who says it's a long season. I think at times people think the season is like you're out in the prairie or the desert and you're moving around trying to find water, but it's more like a nice slow bolero where you're just swaying with the music and reacting to whatever comes to us. Okay, so the guy in a nice bolero, Jets -3.5 at the Titans.
Is he in the middle of an ayahuasca retreat with that answer?
Who thinks it's like you're out in a prairie or desert trying to find water? Who thinks of a season that way?
Being a Browns fan.
We had a boss here once who is kind of the craziest thing you could be, which is not smart, but portrays himself as very smart.
Yeah.
That was very much, I think, Aaron Rodgers a little bit. That said, I actually think they were a lot better than that final score would lead you to believe, and I think Tennessee is a lot worse than that final score would lead you to believe. I like the Jets big in this one. I think they're sharp. I think they win. I think they cover the 3.5.
It's the ayahuasca man versus the Mayo man. Give me New York here, plus the 3.5. Minus the 3.5, excuse me.
Streak of road favorites continues. The 49ers -6 at the Vikings.
Oh, give me San Francisco with or without Christian McCaffrey here, minus the 6.
Same, yeah. They're built different. They bludgeon you. They batter you. They'll have a plan for Darnold on that side of it. They know each other very well. I like the Niners.
He comes down to earth this week, right, Darnold?
Well, I think he could have a really good year there, Reese. I know that Shanahan loved him in San Francisco, and they were if Purdy didn't become Purdy in that camp, it would have been Darnold over Lance. So he fits with what they're trying to do in Minnesota with that type of offense. So I think he could be okay. But no, not on the line with the Niners.
The Seahawks are 3.5-point favorites, but they're going all the way across the country playing at the Patriots.
Yeah, what? Give me the Patriots and the 3.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I don't know I would stay away from this one as well. I have no idea what to make of these two teams, but I think Jacoby Brissett is more than capable. They play hard. I'm getting 3.5. They can lose by a field goal, and I still win, so I'll take it too.
Game of the week, Commanders -1.5, hosting the Giants.
New York is the worst offense in football. The Washington Commanders may be the worst defense in football. I'll take the offense over the defense. Give me Jaden Daniels. Give me Washington. I'll throw the 1.5.
Oh, the old something's got to give game. Yeah, give me the Commanders and the 1.5. I would put a poop emoji if I could make that a prediction.
That's bad.
I don't know if that can. Yeah, I don't know if you can wager that.
It will not. In most sports books, I guess the bookie in the alley might give you some fun action on it, but
it might not be an emoji if he's just sitting in an alley. Chargers -6 at the Panthers.
I mean, they're playing Settlers of Catan, maybe some Risk. before the game, if you've got 17 hours to spare for this. Los Angeles is good, and Carolina is just really, really bad. This is another one where I'd say you can give me -6, -7, -8. I'd still pick the Chargers.
Yeah, me too. I think Chargers are going to bludgeon them. I don't know that Bryce Young can be a competent NFL quarterback. I like the Chargers huge as well.
The Browns, they're in action down in Jacksonville. Jags -3.
I think next week's going to be really tough. Is this me? I think
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Look, next week's going to be really tough on your Uncle Bo having to talk about this. I think the Browns are going to go to 0-2. I think Jacksonville is pretty damn good. I think the problems at quarterback are real in Cleveland. I do think Cleveland will get right eventually because they play the Giants and the Raiders, and they'll get back to 2-2, which is all they needed out of these first 4 games anyway. But I don't think it's this weekend. Jacksonville's stretch, I want to say they go Cincinnati and then they go Houston. It's must win for Jacksonville, and I think that they do. I'll take the Jaguars. I'll throw the 3.
So I'm taking Jacksonville as well because bleep the Cleveland Browns. But Jacksonville is in Buffalo next Sunday, and then 7:30
Then
ESPN. Then they got Monday Night Football in Buffalo. Then it's the Houston Texans. Then it's the Indianapolis Colts.
So this is must win for them. They got to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got it. Man, and they weren't even. That's not even their first place.
Miami
schedule.
to open.
Yeah,
it's tough.
That is a tough schedule for them. The biggest line of the week is in Baltimore. Ravens -9 playing host to the Raiders.
I like the Ravens, and I don't know, you want to call this a bounce back. You lose, obviously, but the 9's a little too big. I think they win by a touchdown, but give me Vegas to cover.
Minshew mania, right?
Running wild, brother. Does he still have the mustache?
I don't know. I tend to be with you. I just think the number's too big. Baltimore wins, but I'll take 9 points. This early in the season, 9's a lot.
According to the 33rd team, Marvin Harrison Jr. can run as fast as Will Howard at 22.2 miles per hour. His team
doesn't matter if you don't know where he is.
His team will be in action on Sunday. The Cardinals -1 hosting the Rams.
Is this one me?
Yes.
Ram it.
All day.
It's a pick 'em. Ram
and
it.
all night. Give me the Rams.
Or for 50 seconds if you're Reese.
On to the 425 ones. Steelers -2.5 at the Broncos.
This damn wizard going to start Justin Fields. They're going to win a game kicking. They only need 1 field goal to win this. They might kick 2. It's going to be a long day for Bo Nix. Give me the Steelers and the -2.5. You get -3.5, 4.5. Yeah, this is going to be real bad for Bo. Bo Nix.
Yeah, the other guy. It's one of those. This is almost kind of similar to the other one that the Lions. Like, who isn't taking Pittsburgh here? Right? Like, won't this be the most heavily bet game of the week? I'm not going to overthink it. Knicks, 40-some passes, less than 150 yards. Like, that is not a recipe. I like the Steelers as well. They'll come up with a game plan, win by a field goal. That'll do it.
Probably the actual game of the week for most people. Bengals at Chiefs, KC -5.
Man, Cincinnati looked bad. 5's a lot. Burrow's always played really well against Kansas City. But I don't know if Higgins is playing. I don't know what's going on with why Burrow won't throw the ball deep down the field. I think Cincinnati's reputation is kind of clouding this a little bit in terms of their difficulty, Kansas City's difficulty in dealing with them. I think Kansas City does win by a touchdown. Give me the Chiefs. I'll throw the 5.
Time to earn that contract, Money Mac. I'll do a heart play here. Kansas City wins. Oh, no. You know what? Damn it. Bengals plus the 5. Cincinnati gets the win on the last second field goal.
Oh, God.
Let's do it. Let's go.
What a reverse out of you.
He just ate his cake this week. He could have had his cake and eat it too, but he ate it. Just ate it. Monday, we will pick the Falcons at the Eagles, so check in on us with that. But Sunday Night Football, last one this week, Bears at Texans, Houston -6.
I mean, you saw the Bears, right? You saw the Texans. We could be -6, -7. There's a theme with a couple of these games. Like, give me C.J. Stroud is really who I'm picking, minus the 6 here.
Confident Reese after an 11-5
He
week.
really is. He's real chesty, real brazen. I had Houston last week to cover, and all they had to do was win by a field goal, and they won by 2 because they gave up a late one. This, to me, feels like knock, knock, knock. Who's at the back door? It's Caleb Williams, and it's Rome Odunze who magically decides to play. I think the Bears cover late. on a little bit of a backdoor. So I'll take the Bears to cover, but Houston to win in a game that I don't think will be as close as the final score would lead you to believe. Speaking of the Browns, down in Jacksonville, a brutal game coming out of a brutal game, and it's been a noisy week up there. You'll hear from Deshaun Watson coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's Jeep Adventure Days at Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, where you'll save up to $16,000 off MSRP on new 24 Jeep Wranglers and Grand Cherokees. One Performance, 2 locations, Georgesville and Delaware.
Cannot combine offers, not valid on previous sales. Offer expires 9/30/24.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Score a goal with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the checking account that rewards you for supporting the crew. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, official credit union of the Columbus Crew, federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. When it comes to being a Newman Roofing customer, you can trust they're always going to put your needs first. They're going to give you the white glove treatment so you feel confident you're making the best decision. So don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
The PGA Tour's rising stars are back at the Nationwide Children's Hospital Championship September 19th through 22nd, and so is Pub 13. Grab your friends, cheer for birdies, and enjoy drink specials on the 13th green. Get your free tickets at ncc-golf.com.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Meet me at the Ultimate Car Show this Friday at Valley Ford of Columbus. It's 4 GTs versus classic Ferraris, plus food trucks, live music, and tons of show cars. Everyone's invited. You can even drive your car in to show it off. I'll have my Mustang there. This Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. at Valley Ford of Columbus.
Join Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey for 2 whole hours of scarlet and gray goodness.
Thank you, football guy.
Buckeye Roundtable, Monday night at 6.
Presented by Burger King.
Your flagship home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan.
In his ads, Sherrod Brown talks about common sense.
It's just common sense.
But Brown's record shows a complete lack of common sense. Sherrod Brown voted multiple times to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports.
Common sense.
And Brown introduced a bill to allow transgender biological men in girls' locker rooms.
Common sense.
Brown supported allowing minor children to receive sex change surgeries. And Brown backed Bidenomics, reckless Washington spending and inflation causing prices to soar on gas, groceries, electricity, and housing, making life harder for Ohio families and seniors.
It's just common sense.
Actually, it's nonsense. Brown's extreme liberal policies make absolutely no sense outside of Washington, D.C. But that's the real Sherrod Brown. He's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org. In his ads, Sherrod Brown talks about common sense.
It's just common sense.
But Brown's record shows a complete lack of common sense. Sherrod Brown voted multiple times to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports.
Common sense.
And Brown introduced a bill to allow transgender biological men in girls' locker rooms.
Common sense.
Brown supported allowing minor children to receive sex change surgeries. And Brown backed Bidenomics, reckless Washington spending and inflation causing prices to soar on gas, groceries, electricity, and housing, making life harder for Ohio families and seniors.
It's just common sense.
Actually, it's nonsense. Brown's extreme liberal policies make absolutely no sense outside of Washington, D.C. But that's the real Sherrod Brown. He's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Sunny out there today with a high of 88. Clear tonight, low 63. Partly to mostly cloudy on your Friday with a high of 86. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Listen, guys, if you got it, you know it. Erectile dysfunction and intimacy destroyer. Research shows men can draw apart from their partners when ED becomes effective in their sex life. The condition causes stress, anxiety, depression. Even worse, a man's partner can blame themselves when ED becomes a problem. And when dealing with issues of erectile dysfunction, better medical practices generally lead to better outcomes for patients. And if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, you want a good outcome. And that's where Tri-State Men's Health Practices come in. Better Medicine, they're the leader in treating men's sexual health issues in Ohio, certainly. And here is all of the things that you're going to get with them when you talk about Tri-State Men's Health. They have treatments that where the pills and herbals fail, they have success rates well over 90%. So do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town. Your initial visit is $99, includes a medical consult, licensed medical provider, TNPSA test, if medically advised, a test dose. If the test dose doesn't work, the office visit is free. So it's a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call today. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or TriStateMen'sHealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard, no medical mile in Westerville as well. Yesterday, Deshaun Watson met the media. He did so just after his attorney, Rusty Hardin, made a statement on the sexual assault allegation in the civil case that was made public. And so that led to this awkward back and forth where Watson couldn't answer things and the media had to continue to ask. And at one point, PR staff up there said, hey, we're going to do football only stuff. So this is just one more thing, right? That's just kind of the deal of it. So here is Watson on the statement that his attorney, Rusty Hardin, released yesterday.
The statement is the response that, we talked about. And, everything that he put in that statement is exactly what, how I'm feeling and what we're going, through this process with.
There is a lot going on with Deshaun Watson. His father died a week ago Friday in the lead up to the game. A close personal friend died last week as well. So that was hanging over. And then he gets the news of another potential lawsuit, a lawsuit being filed against him in civil court down in Texas by Tony Busby, who was the attorney that they dealt with the last time around on this, where they reached the settlement a couple of years ago. All the while, it was not good on the field either on Sunday against Dallas, but Watson says he will not use the off-field problems as an excuse for the play.
I don't like to make excuses or anything like that. Those 3 hours, 4 hours we're on the field, I got to lock in and do my craft and do and execute my plan as a quarterback. So, again, I'm not going to sit up here and make any excuses for anything that's off the field. It's what's causing on the field. So, I just got to be better this week, and I will be better, and we're going to continue to grow each and every week to, get to where we want to ultimately be at the end of the year.
He is a notoriously slow starter in his NFL career, even going back to Houston when he was at his best. He did not come out of the gates great in really any of those seasons, but it would build as it went along. The problem for Browns fans is, and for the Browns franchise is, they've seen so little sustained great play from him. Certainly he was sensational in the last half of football he played last year against Baltimore, but up until that point, it was a little bit more of a mixed bag. People are quick to point out he went 5-1 in starts last year, but one of those is the Indy game where he's out right away and actually throws a pick on the play where he gets hurt. So in terms of sustained excellence, there really isn't any of it. And so that's part of the issue as well. So he was asked yesterday, how can you improve your play? Here's what Watson had to say about that.
You watch the tape. You see what's out there, You try to slow the game down as much as possible. And each and every week, the game kind of slows down because the more timing you get, the more reps you get at playing the game at a full speed. And you just kind of find those little things, the small things that, you have to master before the big things can take care of itself. So, you hit it perfectly. It's just watch that tape on Monday. You figure out, okay, what I do wrong, what I didn't do wrong, what was my decision making. You grade yourself. You have to be very strict with yourself, and you have to really be honest. And if you can do that, then you're getting better, and you have to apply it this week. And that's the key, is starting today, is just when we get out on the practice field throughout these meetings, is applying everything that you wanted to correct on Monday, from the previous game.
Everything they did this offseason was to make him feel comfortable playing the position, and it was not comfortable in any way on Sunday. To be fair to him, it was probably the worst their offensive line had played in a decade, and especially up front. Joel Bitonio probably had his worst game as a Cleveland Brown in the game, and so there was pressure relentlessly up the middle and into Deshaun Watson's face. However, you should be able to elevate above that, especially when you are what they acquired him to be, which was a true franchise quarterback. We had Sam Monson on yesterday, and he talked about what he's missing, the lack of great throws, and you're hanging on to anything. The thing that is also a little bit troubling for me, if would be troubling for me if I were Kevin Stefanski, is, okay, even when it's not going well and we don't have clean pockets, and sometimes he was leaving clean pockets, when he escapes the pocket, you don't see him turn that into 25-yard runs the way he did 4 or 5 years ago. You do not see that same explosiveness. What you see is him drugged down, unable to get out. So then the question becomes, okay, does he still have the elusiveness that he had when he was in Houston all those years ago? Because right now, and this is what I think is going to be such a challenge for them on Sunday, is what are they trying to be offensively? So much of what they were trying to be, I mean, no David Njoku in this game. They're going to be better at left tackle, but save the criticism of DeJuan Jones. He didn't give up a pressure. Like, it wasn't on him. It was in the middle. And honestly, even Hudson, who was the left tackle in the game, he gave up 4 or 5 pressures, but that wasn't it. It was the pressure up the middle. It was Watson missing stuff that was there. So what should their plan be on Sunday to have success? I don't know what that is. What can you hang your hat on? In the Flacco era, you could say, well, we can run the ball. He will turn his head and flip it to somebody who Stefanski has schemed open. They're not doing that anymore. So what can you hang your hat on offensively? And that's why this seems like such a tough matchup for me. I don't know how they're going to manufacture drives and points.
Yeah, I like Flacco era. What, 6 games total, something like
probably.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
No,
is it the most beloved time in Browns history? The only thing that I can think of since I've been around him that is more fun was Baker, his rookie year, when they won against the Jets, and then he had that run in the last part of the season. The COVID one, that was in 20 when they went to the postseason. You didn't really get to enjoy it because it was COVID and everyone was isolated. And then the Flacco run.
People really got excited about Peyton Hillis back in the day, and then they made him the cover for Madden. But no, that it probably is. I don't know. I just think the truth is, and I get it because of the contract and everything they gave up for him, that like this isn't the answer. But the real truth is that Deshaun Watson is cooked. Not to be trite, but it's over. He's not a good quarterback. He's not going to get back to any percentage of what he was in Houston. He's just not good anymore, and he's not going to be. So what is the option? Find a way to work out a deal to trade for Joe Flacco with Indianapolis. That's what you should do. That's what I think gives them the best chance to win.
What's out there,
Sorry, I hit the clip there.
Well, your opinion's valid, but that's
I know it's not going to happen, right?
It's just not. The reality of it is that Cleveland's stuck with him, so they've got to try to make it work, and they've got to try to do that Sunday. I think the only thing I can hang my hat on is, well, they don't have Micah Parsons, so you're able to scheme better in the middle. I think almost with the opening drive that you would think would be scripted, you're leaving someone in the backfield to help out Watson so he's not all alone by himself, whether they insist on putting him under center or they put him back in the shotgun. It felt like there was an odd mix of that because they didn't really know like what was going to give him the best chance to be successful. And hope's a bad plan, but if you can help him out a little bit with pressure up the middle without having to worry about edge pressure like a guy like Micah Parsons isn't there, thankfully, then maybe there's something. I'm grasping at straws because that's all I've got.
I just tell you this. I saw something about like first quarterback to be benched. I see almost no scenario where Deshaun Watson is benched and the only given reason is performance.
Maybe Halloween.
If he's hurt, or if there's something that you could attach, but they have got to find a way with him. They have to. Right. They have to find it this year. So there's people still believe in him up there, and they have to find a way to have success with him playing quarterback for them. And the people there believe that they can, and they just need to do it. And I think it's going to be really tough because that's a tough spot. I think Jacksonville wins that game. But then it goes Giants, Raiders, and now you're 2-2 after the first 4. You're fine. Cincinnati could find themselves in a similar spot. A lot has been made this week about Joe Burrow and the flexing of the wrist, and even more so, his inability to be willing to throw the ball down the field. What does that mean? Is there something more to it? We get into it as they, of course, take on the Chiefs on Sunday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass. We've talked about how well your defense has played. Has the depth been a big part of why it's played so well?
I think so, but everybody who gets in there is expected to play at a high level. And we had an example on Saturday of we lost Denzel early in the game, and Jermaine had to step right in, and that's going to be like that this season. And I think in the D line, Larry's done a nice job of rolling those guys, and certainly at defensive end, I feel like we could play a bunch of guys there. I think we're starting to see some guys step up in the defensive tackle room, just in terms of, being able to play multiple guys there. I think Ty Hamilton was excellent. Ty Leak, was very, very good in this game. But you're also seeing guys like Hero Kanu, Caden McDonald, some of these guys step up because that group's going to be important. But overall, the more we can roll the D-line, the fresher we're going to be in the fourth quarter and late in the season.
We'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
And asking you about your defense, you've got new defensive coaches, maybe new to their roles in Matt Guerreri and James Laurinaitis, but not new to the program. Does that make a big difference?
Yeah, I think that, having some familiarity with how we do things, and, for James, obviously, it's a little bit different situation because he played here. And so for Matt, he was here for a year, so he's been in Jim's system for a long time, but knows what it means here, has been through entire season here. For James, certainly it's just, being new as a coach, but understands what it means to be a Buckeye. So we're all learning as coaches, but it is good to understand certainly what it is to be at Ohio State, the program, the type of kids that we have, and what the expectations are.
Yeah, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidda. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators...
like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidda and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
Week 4 of the high school football fans game of the week heads to Pickerington. Pick North taking on Dublin Kaufman. Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7. After the game, it's at Byers Dublin Subaru. Overtime with Bake and Lee Cochran. Friday nights mean high school football on the Fan. One of my favorite traditions is driving home from the games and listening to the fellas. Uncle Dom paratrooped in on it last week. How dare he? Claimed Adam King's hair was better than mine, which I won't stand for.
And we'll get a pregame of it
mine
tomorrow because we got Bake filling in on the other side of the glass. So
there you go. Now we figure out who's good and who's not a month into this season. It was not good for Cincinnati either. It's bugged me how their training camp went. It bugged me the way that the injury to T. Higgins cropped up in the leading into the first game. It bugged me the way that Jamar Chase said on that Friday before the opener that the organization said that he was going to have a deal done, and then they did not get a deal done. It bugged me the way Joe Burrow would not throw the ball down the field or look to throw the ball down the field. There's a lot to bug, especially in the outcome, because New England is one of the worst teams in the league. One of the things that was picked up upon, and this happens after week 1. It's overreaction, all of that. But also you start to get all of the people with the freeze frames and the videos. And one of the things that was certainly happened in their game last week against New England was Burrow flexing his wrist and his hand a lot. He was asked about that and his availability. Here's what Joe had to say.
I'm doing that all the time. You know, when you come back from injury, you're always trying to keep the joint loose. That's part of ligament injuries. If you don't move it, you're going to lose it. So I'm always moving around, keeping it loose, keeping my mobility the way that it's supposed to be. So, you know, it's going to continue to happen. I do it at home. I do it here. I do it all the time.
Because Burrow has been so great when he's been healthy, and because they are notoriously slow starters, you kind of just say, okay, they'll be fine. And the reality is when you look at their schedule, once they get through Kansas City, they likely will be more than fine. They have dealt with a healthy dose of criticism this week, though, and so here is Burrow on having to deal with all of that.
That's part of playing quarterback in the NFL. You know, you're going to get scrutinized if you don't play up to the standard that you've set for yourself, and I've set that standard for myself, and I needed to go out there and hit that, and I didn't on Sunday. I'm going to continue to get better and look forward to another opportunity on Sunday.
My biggest criticism was just there were guys downfield and he wouldn't even look. And at one point, Jamar Chase was even visibly what the heck, man? Throw it down here. Chase was 6 for 60 something in the game and was not stretching the field at all. And there were shots to be made. Burrow addressed that in terms of not looking downfield more, and hope something they're going to have to do this week down in Kansas City.
It depends on the looks that you're getting. You know, if we're getting one-on-one, I need to take advantage of those opportunities. If we're not, I'm not going to force things and throw interceptions, and I'm going to take what the defense gives me. That's, in my opinion, part of why I've been so good. So we can obviously do a much better job of taking advantage of those one-on-one opportunities, and there were a couple on Sunday that we didn't, and so we need to do a better job of recognizing that, myself included. But I'm going to continue to play the game the way that I feel like I need to play to win the game.
Here's the reality of this, guys. They're at Kansas City this week, and Reese, you and I both. Did you pick? No, you picked them to win. I picked Kansas City to win that game. Even if they drop to 0-2, they then get the Commies at home on Monday Night Football. Then they're at the Panthers. Then it's Ravens at home, at the Giants, at Browns. So that's the next 5 games after this stretch. So you could start 0-2 and very easily be 5-2 by the time you get to the Week 8 game against Philly, when Philly comes to town. And even you got to remember, the Cincinnati Bengals get the last place schedule. So it's Eagles, and then it's Raiders, then another divisional game at Ravens, at Chargers, then Steelers, at Cowboys, at Titans, Broncos in the last month of the season. There are a ton of just chalk it up, winnable games.
Even if it's only 4-3 at the end of that stretch, you first named. I think they're going to be okay. Yeah, and it was funny. I think it was Ben Baby was going back and forth with him explaining the water bottle thing that people were pointing out. And I'm pretty sure he just thought it was emptier, like it had less water in it than it ended up having. He tried to pick it up from the cap, couldn't, and he had to rotate his hand around. And I went up to my water bottle and then I did it, and I was like, yeah, that's a normal way to pick up the water bottle if it ends up being a little bit heavier. So, no, I'm not too worried about that.
Explain to the audience what you're referring to if you have not seen the clip.
He is sitting on the bench, and somebody has taken the screenshot of it. This was on the CBS TV copy.
Yeah.
And he reaches down to his right side to below the bench, and he grabs a water bottle, but by the top around the lid. And as he pulls it up, his hand is kind of like the claw machine, and it looks like maybe he's straining a little bit, and then he rotates his hand around, picks it up, and that's why his response to it was I don't know, I was drinking water. And that's what it looked like. We don't have to look into everything. The flexing of the wrist, I think that was a reasonable thing to be ooh, what's going on there? But that makes sense. He's just keeping it limber because he is still coming back from the injury. I think it's one of those things where he probably is dealing with it a little bit, but no, I don't think it was the reason that they played like that against New England.
I don't know if I've ever related more to an athlete than I did with Joe Burrow, just constantly wringing out his wrist. Have you ever had anything that nags you, the older you get, the more kind of emphasis you put on it before, during, and after any strenuous activity? How many times has my old ass sat down and be ugh, just because your knee's creaky? You're always just going to be a little more dramatic, I feel in those instances.
The guy with a bad back remembers to keep stretching his back while playing pickleball or something like that. That's what Burrow's doing with his wrist.
Big picture, you paint a pretty rosy picture. Notorious slow starters, they'll get it sorted out. The schedule's easy. Big picture, I still don't like the Higgins injury. I don't like what Jamar Chase had to say. I don't like the notion of we'll give you guarantees, but not until 2027. I don't like that stuff. I don't like Mike Brown not taking the money from private equity and being the one guy voting against it. You have a franchise quarterback. You have drafted really well. We have already seen incredible guys that they've drafted and developed who have left for next to nothing. Higgins is going to leave for next to nothing. Now you got Chase pissed off. What is the point of all of this? The point of the NFL is to win. You landed a franchise quarterback. You drafted franchise-defining receivers. Go all in, man. Go all in. Find a way.
All the while, Lou Anarumo's defense is not as shiny as it was just a few years ago because they let everybody walk. I'm not
Dax
saying
Hill is playing corner.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if the coach is falling behind or if it's the players or a combination of both, but we know that they've lost players that were important to that defense, so that's not going to carry them through these games. So they need the offense and Joe Burrow to go. You have to at least invest on one side of the ball. To a certain degree, if you want to stay at this level. Yes, the window is Joe Burrow's career, but you can also waste a quarterback. We've seen that happen in the NFL. They had star players, but Phillip Rivers kind of comes to mind when you think of that. Nothing really happened, but he was great the whole time. People have careers where they just don't really accomplish much, and if you don't hold on to something, especially on this offensive side of the ball, and make it easier for Joe Burrow, because those are the players you have, it's going to go away.
Yeah. Well, we joke about, the talking about your back and, deep sighing when you sit down. But when Joe Burrow's injuries start to become one and then two and then three different ones that, he's had to kind of battle through and miss time off of, that window starts closing a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. Where he says in the beginning, my window is my career. Now it's, well, what kind of a career? What's the length here? The length could be 10 years or it could be 4 or 5. Yeah.
Listen, I don't think NFL teams can ever take the notion of the long-term play.
Yeah, we've got time for this. Doesn't exist in the NFL.
You got to go now. If you have a window, you got to go right now. And in a way, that's how Cleveland ended up with Deshaun Watson. They had drafted a bunch of stars. They were all young. They really believed that they were not good enough with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, and that relationship was broken. There was a franchise quarterback, and they looked past a lot of stuff to go acquire him and put him with the rest of their guys in their prime because there's a window. And the Bengals are in the window, and there is fear, I would think, from a Bengals nation that they're blowing it a little bit by the way that this has been, and that unfortunately maybe the high point will be getting to a Super Bowl, which, by the way, the Browns would kill to get to a Super Bowl, right? But maybe that's it, and that's the thing that I worry about. I just don't like the last month down in Cincinnati, the way all of it's been going. We'll hit three things on a Thursday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Men, if erectile dysfunction is affecting you, getting treated could have a dramatic impact on your relationship and your outlook on life. But it's also important where you get treated because your health matters. And working with an organization that practices excellent medicine and has significant expertise in men's sexual health can often result in a far better outcome. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you're seeking a quality provider to treat your ED or are just not satisfied with your current situation, call us. We'll show you a true 5-star experience and work with you to find the right treatment for your specific medical situation. At Tri-State Men's Health, we truly are experts in men's sexual health. But it's more than that. Unlike the online pill pushers or so-called men's clinics that only offer one or a few treatment options, we offer the full spectrum of ED protocols. We can even use combinative therapies for better results. At Tri-State Men's Health, your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Heaven on earth. It's here in the mountain towns of West Virginia, draped in vibrant reds, yellows, and oranges. Some of America's most spectacular fall colors. The perfect backdrop to autumn adventure, from scenic train rides to fall festivals, and a cozy cabin waiting at the end of the day. Fall is almost heaven in West Virginia. Plan your getaway at wvtourism.com.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
This week at Meijer, get more for your money in just one stop. Find fresh California green seedless grapes for $1.49 per pound. Delicious whole pork shoulder butt for $1.99 per pound. And select General Mills cereal for $1.99 per box. Plus, flu and COVID vaccines are available now. And you can earn M-Perks points at the Meijer Pharmacy. So schedule your appointment today. Get the same low Meijer price no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Watch the PGA Tour's Next Generation at the Nationwide Children's Hospital Championship at the Ohio State University Golf Club, September 19th through 22nd. Pub 13 drink specials, food trucks, and more. Get your free tickets at ncc-golf.com.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Rita, Jorge, let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. For instance, on September 21st, 2019, UCLA trailed Washington State 49-17 with under 7 minutes left in the third quarter. From that point forward, the Bruins erased that 32-point deficit, outscoring the Cougars 50-14 to win 67-63.
Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Saturday is game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Riker Ford.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese, what do you have on the poll?
The Daily Fan poll asks, what is your favorite Columbus concert venue? Historic Crew Stadium, Kemba Live, or Promo West Pavilion, the Newport, or Nationwide Arena / the Schottenstein Center. I don't know why those were.
Why are they
together? They're vastly different venues. But 38% say the Newport's the preferred place to see a concert.
You guys see it any of those places?
I have never actually been to. I'm very familiar with the building, but I've never actually been to the Newport. Used to serve a lot of people leaving when I worked at UDF, which when Insane Clown Posse came through, that was a very interesting.
Oh yeah, a lot of Fago going across your desk.
That was a very interesting evening. But I have been to the Shot and I have been to Nationwide Arena, and Nationwide's better than the Shot in every conceivable way. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I've never seen a concert at any of the venues. I haven't been to a concert in 15 years, so it's been a minute on that side of things. Reese, you also had a secondary poll as well that you put up.
So someone had thrown an email at us saying that original Sun Chips was the best flavor. Like, excuse me, sir. I threw out on social media at 971BFS, what's the best flavor of Sun Chip? Right now, we're getting about 200 answers, and they are saying 47% of those 200, saying Garden Salsa is the best flavor of Sun Chip. 33% say Harvest Cheese, 10% French Onion. There is a small contingent that maintain original is the best Sun Chip.
The one that's getting slept on here is French Onion at 10%. That's outrageous.
Those are my like sour cream and onion type chips. Yeah. Those are always good. Yeah.
Those are all of them. The only one I don't. What I want to know is does it make any fiscal sense for me to buy the big box at Costco if 6 of the originals I end up donating? That's what I want to know.
How can you upcycle the Sun Chips? Maybe you could use them as fire starters or something.
I don't. We donate them. I take them into work or whatever. My wife takes them, drops them off. But like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. It's kind of like Elaine with the muffin tops. Like, what do you do with the stumps? All right, 3 things on a Thursday. Hit it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me. Big grooming day for Buddy Garrity this morning. So he's off to go get groomed, get cleaned up, get trimmed up a little bit, getting a little bit loose. This is always an undefeated moment for me because we've discussed before, Buddy Garrity hates the car in the worst way possible, and especially my wife's car. And so she has an SUV, and so she bought a ramp she thought this would help. Like he could walk up the ramp into the back of the vehicle and that would make it okay. So I go outside. I hear her yelling. I go outside. She is pulling him, like pleading with him, pulling with him. He is just butt sat down like a mule, not budging, nothing. So then I go over there, still not budging. Eventually I have to pick him up and put him in the car. It is never not a disaster. And I told him, like, we got to figure out, we got to retrain him on this. We got to sort this out because she's going to have to pick him up at the groomer this afternoon. And there's no way she can lift him in. He's like 70 pounds now. He's a big dude. This is going to be a problem. But it's never not funny watching it.
We talk college football the most of any sport on this program. And here's just a reason why it's different. And I love it. George Kittle had to put on an Iowa State helmet because he lost a bet to Brock Purdy. Iowa played Iowa State. Iowa State won. Brock Purdy a Cyclone. George Kittle a Hawkeye. He has to wear the helmet. Last year, Brock Purdy had to wear Hawkeye headgear. I don't even care that this goes against a team that I root for and a result of a game that I didn't like because that's the magic of college football is that guys in the NFL, millionaires. Brock Purdy's about to be a $50 million+ man, most likely. And they are still making bets about their college teams and making their teammate wear the helmet to his presser. That's just such great stuff. And that's why it's so interesting and so much fun.
Speaking of the NFL, ESPN's going to have Super Bowl 61, 2027. It's a little ways away, but the president of content at the worldwide leader, Burke Magnus, great name, told Front Office Sports they're looking to have a Super Bowl 61 Manning cast. So That's going to stick around for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's a lost leader for them now. They're paying for ratings that they don't get. Number 2 for me, admittedly, and we've talked about it a lot, I don't follow baseball the way that I used to. But every once in a while, I see something, and most of the time it has to do with Shohei Ohtani, who is inching closer to 50-50. You guys are not big enough, and baseball is not what it was when I was a kid. When Jose Canseco got 40-40, it was like, wait, what? Somebody's doing that? And this guy's now on the precipice of 50-50. It's very possible that he's the greatest baseball player who ever lived. Like, that's very possible in terms of all of the things that he can do. And it's kind of this story that's not really being talked about because of what's happened to baseball in the last 30 years. It's wild.
I mentioned the gas leak that was found outside of my house, and just a big thank you to Eco Plumbers, Columbia Gas, even the 1-800-JUNK guy. One guy showed up and moved a bunch of logs by the time all these people showed up, just so that they could get underground where they needed to go. And basically, it's supposed to be done this afternoon, so within 48 hours, they all got that done. So a lukewarm shower last night, but I think we made it through it, and the gas line should be back up. So thank you to all of you people, because you need it. At least it's been 85 degrees, so you don't need your furnace.
I'm in a giving mood for my second one, so I've got a 4-pack of tickets to see Nitro Circus at Nationwide Arena. That'll be Thursday, December 5th. Get ready. Nitro Circus is back, featuring a lineup of top athletes who will push the boundaries of what's possible with jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, heart-pounding excitement. Caller number 4, 821-9710. You're getting that 4-pack because I'm just in that giving mood today.
A giving mood out of Reese. You love to see it. Number 3, and finally for me. So we got the littles to bed, and I was bouncing around looking for something to take me to 11 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, right on the dot, The Firm started. The Firm is awesome. It's fantastic. And it's everything that they don't make anymore in movies. I miss the legal thriller with murder and mayhem, and they don't make those movies anymore. There aren't even really any television series like that. Suits was decent, but not to this level, and I miss them.
Yesterday, I was coming home, blaring Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, and there were the guys repairing the sidewalk at my neighbor's sidewalk. I pulled into the driveway, windows down and going loud, and I turned it off and got out, and I looked at them, I go, courtesy Pink Floyd, guys, you're welcome.
The music, it's the Ryan Day Show, an Improvement Week edition of the Ryan Day Show coming up next. Then you have Rothman and Ice up from 1 to 3 right here on The Fan.
He just said it. Thanks for listening, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
The Heisman Trophy betting market took a big shift this week. Quinn Ewers of Texas, now the favorite at 5-1. Cam Ward of Miami is plus 750. Carson Beck, Georgia's plus 850. Preseason Heisman Trophy favorite Dylan Gabriel is now 6th in the odds at 12-1. And Buckeyes, Will Howard 20-1. Jeremiah Smith 75-1. Quinshon Judkins 100-1. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. One more, Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 roof.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye playoff game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Now, I know you're probably spelling comfort in your head and asking yourself, is that possible? Am I just a really bad speller? Look, I don't know your spelling aptitude, but Skechers most definitely put the S in comfort because Skechers is the comfort technology company and has developed fits and features that change everything you know about comfort, like hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the ultimate in comfort and convenience. It's footwear you just step into and they're on, with no bending down. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey football fans, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second.
BetMGM and GameSense are to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.